hello to anyone that's listening. This is another live, but hopefully with guests. I don't know which guests until they come on. So I'm going to try and do it as a 15-minute per person, simply because sometimes we've had really bad lives before when I didn't have a timer or anything. So I'm just trying to find a timer on my other phone. There we are. 2 o'clock. Stopwatch. There we are. Sorry, so if anyone wants to join in, today's the day that you can all join in, because yesterday Kerry's joined. I think Kerry wanted to chat, so I'm going to invite Kerry. Invitation sent. This is one of those days where I get to sit back and let everyone else talk, which will be nice. So, I've invited Kerry. I don't know if she can join or not. Corroborate has wrote, what's your thoughts on Epstein? I have no real knowledge of him whatsoever. Over here in the UK, we don't talk about him as much, I guess, as you guys, maybe if you're from the States. And on top of that, I don't even watch normal TV, so the only things I've ever heard is people like yourselves on TikTok going that Epstein's bad, Epstein and Bill Gates are demons, all this kind of stuff. So that's all I know of him, I'm afraid. That's not something I wanted to look into. Didn't even really know of him until... did he die or something? I really don't know. Eddie's right, I have a question about God. No problem, Eddie. Which God are you referring to? Enlil, Enki, Marduk, or the God that the Anunnaki believe in, which is technically not a God because they were the gods, but a creator of everything? So feel free to ask, or if you want to join, today's the day you can join in and waffle on and talk to me, ask me questions, or just tell me your stories. This is a radio show tonight, so you're welcome to join in. Kerry's right, hello, I can't go live, I'm still at work and they monitor my TikTok. Oh, no worries. Okay, well, if I'm on long enough and you can join in, Kerry, that would be cool. The one and only wrote, what do you believe in? I believe in the ancient texts and the evidence that goes along with them. So, for example, we have fused chromosomes. Sorry if you can hear a washing machine in the background, it will stop soon. So we have fused chromosomes. Obviously, God, the Almighty God, didn't suddenly decide out of all the species on this planet that us humans needed a couple of fused chromosomes. And obviously, we've got the original texts that cover absolutely everything there. So I believe that the Anunnaki, an alien race, came here. I've done enough videos. No one's debunked me on them, where I'm showing evidence. So I think it sort of stands on its own, really. Eddie's wrote, do you believe Jesus has the power to prevent anything? So I don't know if you've seen my video on who I believe Jesus' father was. So if you watch that video, it's pretty compelling, really. Again, no one's told me I'm wrong. Not even one religious person has. They probably don't want to watch it, to be honest. But anyway, it's there and people have watched it. But the consensus that I've come to is that Jesus was a hybrid of Anunnaki and human, just as Noah technically was, although that one was not genetically modified. Moses would have been Enki's... Noah would have been Enki's son. Sorry, the bloody washing machine, I didn't realise it was going to put me off. So the answer to your question is, you'll probably sort of say, is Jesus going to come back? He's not going to come back. Because if he did, I did another video where I asked simple questions. I said, if Jesus comes back, what will bring him back? In other words, will it be a mass, Bill Gates depopulating the planet, or will it be, someone that cut their finger? When's he going to come back? What's it going to be that takes him to come back? Of course, no one's answered that. And then I asked, what's he going to do when he comes back? I'm quite happy to make him a cup of tea and have a chat with him. But what's he going to do? Is he going to say, Bill Gates, be gone? He's not going to do nothing, because he would have done that already with Germany, and he would have done it with Genghis Khan, and he would have done it with quite a few other crackpot, Starling, and a few others that wanted world domination. So he's not going to come back. But if he had any powers when he was alive, that simply would have been possibly tech that he would have possibly got off of his father. Cabaret has wrote, is Bill Gates part of anything that crosses over into your knowledge, other than him, megalomania, other than his dad being part of the depopulation program, and now Bill seems to be part of that as well. Other than that, no, nothing to do with sort of aliens or anything. Just him wanting. So the thing is, think about this. If you've ever seen his house, I don't know if you guys ever saw his house. He had a lot of tech installed in his house. He's very tech centric, obviously, and the tech that they probably have, and he's probably now familiar with, e.g., back engineered tech from Crash Craft, etc., and some of the deals that we've done with aliens for tech. He's probably well in with that. I mean, he's not, him and Schwab and all that lot, they're not on their own. They're all part of the Bilderberg group. So the Great Reset is, let's be honest, is wipe us out, restart with all the new tech that they have, including anti-gravity and medical equipments and all sorts of stuff that we don't have. So yeah, he's not a nice person. Sulky's wrote, no, Bigfoot is God. I'm guessing that's no comma, Bigfoot is God. Could I have the evidence of that, please? Fraser's wrote, evening, buddy. You can tell me more about the 300 years technology gap of the Anunnaki. Cheers. So this is a live that other people can join in with tonight. So if anyone wants to join in, feel free to tap that join in button or whatever you need to do. I have no idea. I mean, if you listen to someone like Billy Carson, he stated that they were a million years ahead of us. There is no way would be a million. In my opinion, no way there would have been a million years ahead of us. Certainly not where we are now. They may have been. You got to remember, our years and their years are different. So where he's saying a million years, obviously he's talking about our years. But on their planet, a million years would only be probably 300,000 of their years. So it's not really a million years, technically. But, when they come here, yes, they had technology that can move stone. That's obvious. They had flying craft, which we do now. But when it came to the wars that they had us fighting, they used bow and arrows. Now, you could say, well, why didn't they create more nuclear weapons? And obviously they did create weapons, and they had flying craft that had weapons. We know that from the Indian texts as well as other texts. So the logic for me is that they're about 300 years more technically advanced than we are right now. So if you propel yourself 300 years forward from where we are, we're probably, in certain disciplines, possibly even in computers, we would actually be more technically advanced than them. Possibly in acoustic levitation, they may be more smarter than us in 300 years' time, but not a million years. I can't see. Sorry, Zach's wrote, you accepting guest requests? Yes, I am today. Sorry, I didn't see the one down the bottom. So let's see who wants Zach. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm putting a timer of 15 minutes. Nothing personal. It's just because sometimes I've had people, and even the mods had to sort of get rid of them for me. So, okay, so I'm going to join. Join. Hi, Zach.
Hello.
Hello there.
How's it going?
Okay, how can I help, or what can I hear, or
Yeah.
what have you say?
I would just love to give you more insight, because it's I believe you've got on the right track in regards to your info, but I believe your source, you got the incorrect source of everything pretty much.
Oh,
And I'm
the
just showing.
sugar in tablets is wrong. Wow. Okay, do tell me. Tell me where I've gone wrong, please.
Yeah, so I've got my laptop here, and I can give you some insight, just small insight in regards to source, so you can basically track um everything down, and it's much easier if you could just give me 2 seconds.
Okay, so if you could sort of just give me an overview of where you're going with this so that we can follow along, because otherwise you'll be telling me a sort of a website or tell me this, that, and the other, and
Oh,
I'll to get a grip of what. So, sort of like, do you agree that the Anunnaki were here, or do you believe there was an
yeah,
almighty being, or?
yeah. I believe a lot of these, the Anunnaki, the aliens, um, what else? Just the whole source of this new age spirituality, the extra dimensional beings, all these. I believe the source comes before the flood. Okay. Let me just show you something. So yeah, as you can see here, obviously this is essentially what I believed. I call them Nephilim. I've been working on a PowerPoint to basically, obviously I can't put all my knowledge, keep all my knowledge in my head, so I track them down. So I believe the source of where all this came from were the Watchers, and essentially these were the fallen angels that came down. And then it goes into the men of renown, like Hercules, what's it called, Perseus, Achilles, and then from there on, um, it boils. It's like you can track this down to the source of where these things came from, and then
You've kind of agreed with me. So basically, I say that the Igigi, which were also translates into Watchers, were the fallen angels. So we actually both agree on that.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, I see. Um, okay, yeah. So even in regards to gray aliens, right? This is not a link. I made this myself. This is something that I'm just working on to get to the source of this and then put the new forms of Nephilim. But essentially, these aliens, what they're planning is in our time, everyone listening, if you're alive while I'm alive right now, they will be coming back. They're setting the stage. The Anunnaki. That's why you see a lot of people into this new age spirituality. They're waiting for these aliens to come. But what they don't realize is they're walking into it's all a huge trap. A lot of these people waiting for these aliens to come. For one, they're gonna accept you. They're gonna most certainly say, "Well, yeah, we've been waiting for you also." But when you guys go on these ships and you follow these aliens off to where they're going, it's death. You're walking into a trap, and that trap will be your own death. And
So what you're saying is the Anunnaki want to kill us. Is that right?
essentially, yes. Not when they say kill us, it's those that want to see them. It's like a depopulation tactic, but it's very smart. A lot of people think with the aliens and Anunnaki, right? They think it's like there's a good side and a bad side. They're all evil at core, all of them. There is no good in these beings, and the worst thing is when these aliens arrive, right? It's gonna be a global event. It's gonna be a global event. They're gonna come. They're gonna arrive at all the major cities in the world simultaneously, and they're gonna use clouds to cloak. Firstly, they're gonna use clouds to cloak where they are. So when they come, they're gonna use it's like a cloud cloaking device to basically come closer to us, and then they're gonna sit there, and then at the same time, I'm telling you, not simultaneously, they're gonna reveal themselves, and that cloak is no longer gonna be there. Um,
And Jeff Goldblum's going to save us? No, sorry, bad joke. Sorry, no, it's only because it sounded something like Independence Day. So apologise.
yeah, it's something you can say so most definitely. But the thing is though, a lot of people won't realize at the time. You see, when they arrive and they come down, it's gonna be when this event happens, right? A lot of people are gonna, they're gonna bring. There's gonna be big crowds gathering around, and when they land down, it's gonna be like the movies. You're gonna see the whole entrance. You know, they'll come down from the stairs and be like greetings in their comical costumes, and I'm telling it's and the thing is, right, this is the big thing I want to warn you all about, is they have extremely powerful mind control capabilities, extremely powerful, and it's one of those where you don't want to be around them when they reveal themselves, because they have the power to control minds. Is they can walk into a room, place place three fingers up, you know, like the ET sign. And when they place these three fingers up, they have the power to control the whole room and make everyone forget that they even came, and not stop time, but freeze everyone in the room. It's gonna get wild. Honestly, these coming years are gonna be wild.
Could I ask
Um,
a couple of questions, if you don't mind?
yeah.
So you said they're going to come here and they're going to sort of disguise their ships, and then they've got to all suddenly appear. Could you tell me where you got that information from?
Sauce.
Yeah,
Oh, I can't give my sauce. I'm afraid it's. Just know it's a credible source, a very credible source. I can assure you, most definitely, sir. It's a very credible source, probably the best source.
let me get this straight. Sorry, forgive me for a second. It's just I have a very logical brain. So the aliens that's gonna secretively come here to wipe us out have told someone that's probably told your source, that's told you about their secret plans that they're not going to tell us, shouldn't tell us about, but now they've accidentally told us that we. So we're. Does that not seem a bit weird?
No, no. Okay, so these aliens, right? When I say, I don't mean that all they're here to just kill us. That's not their main goal. Um, Essentially, in regards to those that want to seek them and go to where they're going, like they'll make some. How can I put this? They'll make it so, yeah, you guys come on the ship with us, you know, all these alien fanatics that love aliens, they will follow them into their ships, and they will go to wherever planet Zorg, or wherever they think these aliens are taking them, to their own planet. And then that's when they will essentially kill them. These ships, though, these ships can eat people, and it sounds weird to hear, but the ships that they have can eat people. um
And your source has told you this.
Yep. And on top of this, the main goal, right? But this is the thing, though. The main goal, they want to live coincide the human race. So essentially, just remember this, guys, because I'm telling you, this is gonna happen. So essentially, when they first arrive, it's not gonna be like an instant. There's not gonna be like an instant mix in society. The government's gonna allow them to have a separate a separate. It's like separate housing. So
Oh,
essentially, they're gonna build their own little.
a bit like District 9, the film District 9.
Uh,
I don't know if they allow the aliens to come and give them a separate place.
Yeah. So that yeah. Honestly, so that's for the meantime being, and then eventually over time they're gonna want to seek to be involved with humanity, and seek to share their knowledge and what's not with humans, and
Oh,
basically it's
well,
what's there's a
enjoy.
word for it. What's it called when aliens and humans live aside? It's coincide. It's like a word.
Coexisting.
Yeah, coexisting together, and on top of this.
They were here before. They were our kings. We have kings lists with the Anunnaki's names. They ruled us. So
Yeah.
why come back? What's the benefit of coming back and coexisting when really they are our, as their race name is, gods? Why would they want to come back and coexist with peasants? I don't get it.
Well, surprise, surprise. This is actually. I know you're probably not into the whole Jesus, the Bible, but this is actually essentially when the Bible talks about the last days will be like the days of Noah. We're seeing a repeat, because essentially these aliens, they're running out of time when it comes to their judgment. You know, the Anunnaki, the aliens, the fallen angels. Essentially, their end goal is their resting place will be the lake of fire. So when they come back out, it's like they're coming back to.
You,
How can I
you
put this?
sort of from the Book of Revelation by any chance?
Say again?
Are you mentioning from the Book of Revelation by any chance?
Yeah. When it talks about the days, it will be like the days of Noah. So, and when it says the days of Noah, literally these things were occurring before the days of Noah, before the flood. So you see the Egypt civilization and all these. Oh, actually, I forgot to mention this. Yes, so you see the Egyptian gods.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise. They're coming back. They're coming back.
Oh,
So the thing is, right, when they come back, it's gonna be a thing of not even the Egyptian gods. You see the pharaohs, the ones that were put to rest, embalmed.
right.
Yeah, they're returning. What's it
Okay.
called? They're in. It's like there was there was a lot of witchcraft involved. When embalming some of these pharaohs, some of them they're gonna be brought back to life by the government though through, I believe it's DNA. It's something to do with DNA. It's when you bring a pot blood. I forgot the name. What is it when you bring blood alive? I forgot what it's called. It's like it's not cloning, but it's like cloning.
Resurrection.
Some form of resurrection, yeah. And alongside that, the giants as well. The giants are coming out of well, they're slowly coming out of hibernation too. They were preserved in Antarctica. So there's giants that are preserved in ice, and the ice is slowly melting. And the thing is, when the Bible says it's going to be like the days of Noah, it's literal. These giants that were um in rest have been resting for hundreds of years in a cryostasis um by the ice queens that were around at the time before the flood. They're gonna come out of their cryostasis, and the
Sorry.
government knows. Yeah,
I was gonna say, because I've done my research on my Book of Revelations. I've even done a video if anyone's interested in watching it on my Patreon page, where I literally prove that the Book of anyway, I won't bore you with that. But could you, with your friend, because everything you said, other than the right at the beginning when you talked about the fallen angels being the Watchers, that's the only thing I agree with. Could you ask your friend for evidence? Because without sounding rude, nothing that you've said matches anything that I've said, which is what you said at the beginning. You said that I've got it all wrong, but everything that I've looked at, I can sort of back up with evidence. And you've kind of, your friend or your source has kind of made it sound like three or four movies all mixed into one. I don't know. I don't want to sound rude. That's what I'm saying. Maybe if you can't get evidence off of your friend, he's District 9, Independence Day, and I could probably name a few. The Mummy, Mummy Returns. I think there's a few stories in there that he's pulling you a fast one. Sorry.
I see what you're saying, but if you knew who my source was, and you know my source as well, I'll tell you that now. You know who you know. If I was to give you the name of my source, you would know exactly who it is. I'll put it that way. Um,
Doesn't start with Billy and end with Carson, does it?
no, no.
I was going to say he's really going off
But
beating. Then
you know, have you heard about the Marine Kingdom?
refresh my memory.
Mermaids.
Oh,
Put it that way.
I've done a whole documentary on my Patreon page on mermaids.
Yeah. So essentially, even when these aliens come, it's gonna be one thing after the other. So the mermaid societies that live amongst us in secret, it's a very sophisticated, have very sophisticated technology. They're gonna reveal themselves to the public too, but some of them are already living amongst us in today's world in very high corporations, very high up corporations, very rich businesses, and and essentially they're behind a lot of the products that are out here in today's world. I know it sounds a bit weird. I know it sounds weird, but yes. So mermaids are gonna reveal themselves to the public. It's gonna be like a movie scene. They're gonna come out. Everyone's gonna see the scales, the tails, and all these, and it's gonna get wild, man. These coming years are gonna be wild.
Okay, it's been 15 minutes, so thank you very much. Sorry to cut you off. I did say that I was going to do 15-minute segments with each person, so thank you very much for taking the time to come on tonight.
Yeah, no worries, man. Thanks for bringing me up.
No worries. All right, and I'm sure. Okay, so it is live tonight, and you're welcome to join in and have a chat with me. So if anyone wants to join in, hi Jane. Jane wrote hi. Hi, Jane. So yeah, if people want to, tell me their things or anything, just like that gentleman did. Louise has wrote, "I'll believe creator of all, but do have a soft spot for Enki." According to, well, I don't know. I suppose it's a personal opinion, but his half sister preferred the other one, Enlil. Um, but yeah, anyway, that's neither here nor there. Jen has wrote, "So you supposedly know all this stuff and nothing on Epstein?" Correct. I don't. Is he to do with aliens? I've never come across. According to Jen, I should know absolutely everything about. Apparently, I think he's a pervert or something. I don't. As I say, I don't really know much about him. Well, nothing about him. But according to Jen, I should, because I look into ancient aliens. I don't know where the connection is with that. And even if the small fragments that I've heard about Epstein, I certainly wouldn't want to look into it because it sounds pretty sick. And anyone that's listened to me before knows that I will avoid going down that particular rabbit hole where sort of children are involved or people getting hurt, which is why I don't look into cults and things like that. So forgive me, Jen, if it's not. I know you're trying to make me look stupid, but yeah, unfortunately, that's just the way I roll. Kerry's wrote, "What would Enki think if he landed on Earth today? Would he regret warning Noah?" It's a good question. Obviously, Enki's would have died. There's apparently two texts in the Oxford University translations. I've not read them yet, or if I have, I may have not understood them. But thank you, Emlyn. That's very nice. I haven't seen your name before. Thank you. So yeah, what would Enki? So Enki, just to let everyone know, Enki was our father who art in space. He was the one that genetically modified the hominid species here. We've got the text to prove that. Thank you, Kerry. Sorry. Jane's popped in something. "All religions welcome. Please be respectful to others. No preaching." So I'm guessing there's some people that's saying Jesus is this and whatnot. So yeah, thank you for that. So what would Enki? So everything that I've read about Enki, and you can actually really get a personal profile of Enki. You really can. There's enough texts out there. It's not just like, oh, Enki did this and did that. There's actual chats, ancient chats between him and his half sister, him and Enlil, him and Lugalbanda, him and loads of other characters from the past. So you can actually get a feel of what he's really like. And I know the person earlier, the guest that just said that every Anunnaki was an evil, pure evil. But technically, we wouldn't be here if they were all pure evil, because obviously Enki allowed us to survive. There were others that did survive as well, other than Noah. But what would he have said? It's a really good question. Go number one in the class for that, Kerry. Knowing Enki, he'd be proud, I think, of some of the advancements that we've done. I think he would, because he was the fashioner. That's not me saying that. That's actually the name that he's got, as well as many other names. But he was called the fashioner. So he'd be proud of the technological side that we've done. He'd probably understand the greed and power of our elites. He would probably oppose them, just like he did with Enlil, a few times. So you've got to remember, the almighty being God that people believe in was the one which was the highest, which was sorry, I'm just resetting the timer there, which was Enlil. So he opposed Enlil many a time on many a things, including wait for it, what ended up being the 10 plagues of Egypt, because Enlil was trying to wipe out the people in Israel, because he was the God of Israel, as it says in the Bible. So yeah, he would probably oppose them. He would probably think what they're doing is wrong, and he would probably try and work out another way of doing it. He would simply say, have less children. Or he would genetically, thinking about how it works, he would genetically say, look, instead of giving you all something in your arm to kill you lot, which is what our lovely elites are doing right now, he would devise something that would stop the generation having children. That's what he would do. Because even when Abel, after he killed Cain, or was it? I always get that mixed up. Cain and Abel. No, Cain killed Abel. So Cain, according to the texts, was de-bearded because a beard was a big status symbol back then for them, and so they sent him off, or Enki sent him off. So he looked at the situation and thought, very logical and analytical, as he did with Alula as well. He stopped Alula from being murdered, or not murdered, executed there and then after Alula bit his own Enki's own father's private parts and swallowed it. So, yeah, I think he would probably come up with a better solution than Bill Gates is doing by wiping us all out. Susie Q, name I haven't seen for a while. So, hi, boss. Hi, Susie. So this is live. If someone wants to chat with me for once, please join in and click that live chat button. Funny, the days that I don't have people coming on, I get everyone asked in, and the days that I say, okay, come and chat, no one wants to. It's quite weird. Rex has wrote, I'm with my father and Jesus. So I'm guessing, Rex, you're not talking about the actual original gods, plural, Genesis 1:26. You're not talking about them. You're talking about the mistaken identity of an almighty being based off of the text that they copied from Hebrew, from Aramaic, Babylonian, possibly Assyrian, and Sumerian. So I'm guessing you're going with the mistaken text as opposed to the Anunnaki being the father. Sonny has wrote, where they at though? So now obviously the other person was talking, so I don't know where, if you're referring to his point or mine, because he went through a few different alien races. He even came in with the Greys. So if you're referring to the Anunnaki, some of them possibly stayed here, some died, and some more than likely went back because it was causing problems. And that's the thing with the gentleman earlier when he was saying, I wanted to give him his own time. I didn't want to keep cutting him off, but when he was saying that they want to coexist with us, we know that they struggle with our planet. That's why we've got the text to say that they had issues with their biology being here on this planet, and they aged twice as, probably pretty much twice as quick. So there's no way they would want to coexist. So whatever source that person's got, I would like to talk to that source, because there is no way the Anunnaki will ever want to come and live on this planet. No way. Not long term. No. Diaz wrote, I think you might be right, mate. I'm not sure what I was referring to, or if you were referring to the other person. Million Monkeys wrote no to all. That's alright, with a laughing face. When they put a laughing face, this is true. When they put a laughing face, it means they have nothing to back it up with. That's true. Anyone argues with you, when they put a laughing face, you've won. They've lost. And so this is what happens to me. Now, sensible people will debate with me, and they're obviously smart, but unfortunately, people that put the laughing faces. Salki has wrote, but who's God's father? So if you're referring to the Anunnaki, then obviously they had fathers, and their fathers had fathers, and their fathers' fathers, and so on. But if you're referring to the creator of everything, we don't know what the Anunnaki were referring to for that. Whether it was a thought, whether it was another alien race that created our universe. We don't know what they're referring to. This is live, by the way. Everybody can join in, ask to chat with me. 40 years of research. Yesterday everyone wanted to chat with me. Today no one wants to chat with me. Beth has wrote, do you think we can lengthen or I can't pronounce that. By meditating, telem. I don't know how you pronounce that word. Telemores. Um, by meditating, I'm guessing you're saying lengthen our life. Um, I would, if that's the case, if that's what you're referring to, I'm not sure if you are. But if meditating will lengthen your life, you got to think about the time you took to meditate. Your life is going by during the period that you're. So the extra, I don't know, 5 weeks that you might get by meditating, you've lost 5 weeks probably meditating. So I don't. If that's the case, I wouldn't have said it would have been that far greater. Because you got to remember, Buddhists have been meditating for years and years. I mean, some of them do it as literally daily, and that's their life gone. Obviously, they're meditating for different reasons, but they. You could argue with some of them, look older, or some of the Buddhists are older than some of the Western people. But then you think, well, hang on a minute, they're not eating the same crap that we eat, that we're force fed now with the amount of sugar and everything else. They're actually eating proper plants and proper berries and all this kind of stuff, and we're, McDonald's and Kentucky Fried Chicken and a Pizza Hut. Lewis has wrote, yay, half Anunnaki he was. Not sure who we was talking about there. Sorry. Aiden's wrote, hi, Outro History. Hi there. Um, Rex has wrote, Gateshead was hit by HARP yesterday. Massive flooding. Gateshead in the UK. Wow. Yeah, I mean, they're at it. They're at it all over the place. So I agree with you. Yeah. Louise has wrote, demigod. Um, Technically, if you're an offspring off of an Anunnaki, and which was a race named gods, and a human, then if you're an offspring of them, then yes, you would be a demigod, regardless of whether you're from Egypt, Greece, because obviously Greece used that name. But this is live. I'm letting people join today and chat to me, but no one wants to. Um, it's you can come on and chat for 15 minutes, up to 15 minutes, because then I'll let someone else on. But oh yeah, I've got someone suddenly popped up. Let's have a look now. Nikki. So we're going to let Nikki go. So I think there was another one. Normally I don't let people on, but hello, Nikki.
Hi. Oh, hi. I didn't expect it to give you my whole frontal. Hello. Hi.
Ah,
Okay. I like your topic. And since you don't got
ah,
anyone, I figured I'll come. I love to talk, so
ah, brilliant.
I'll get the conversation going maybe.
No problem at all. What's your background? Are you interested in ancient aliens, modern aliens, or all this kind of paranormal stuff? Or
Well, I study basically everything that I can think to study, like anything that piques my interest. I feel like everybody should do this because there's a reason why you're interested in it, right? So I've looked into all sorts of concepts. I've looked into the Anunnakis. I don't know what an EGG is or whatever that is. I've never heard of this, but I basically have my own belief system brewing over here and I can discuss with you. I don't think God is an alien. He's just the creator of our reality, if that makes sense. Atlantis
okay,
could be from Anunnaki. It very well could be. Someone mentioned Hi Brazil in the chat earlier.
all
This is
right,
kind of like how I imagine what happened to Atlantis. Because Hi Brazil, because I study maps, it's there, but then it's not. And I can't actually go fly in a plane and go look myself, obviously. But I have to trust that basically it's gone now off the maps. And that would be the same thing. Whatever happened to, uh, what is it? Whatever happened to Atlantis is probably the same thing that happened to High Brazil, and they very well could even be the same thing. Because High Brazil was recorded like kind of moving, if that makes sense. Like I find it on different areas of maps, so it's like, yeah, the cartographers might have got it wrong, but not, you know what I mean? You can like there's evidence to prove that it was like a moving mass and then it disappeared. So that itself could be Atlantis. Okay. And aliens, no, I don't think aliens are really necessarily real in a way that we imagine them so. I feel like we're bound to what we know here because basically if God created things and started everything and then it starts to bloom and blossom from there, it correlates more with what scientists say, where they say that we're in a universe that's always expanding because it kind of has to, right? It can't stay trapped, right? But
Yeah.
spirits, yes, those are definitely entities. But basically, each person has like a soul, an individual soul, right? And how I imagine it is that it's like as if we all come from one pool. Sorry, my dog. Okay, he likes attention whenever I get on camera. So basically, if you see it as when you're birthed, you take a piece of that source with you, and that's your individual soul, right? And it correlates with spirit, if that makes sense. Like it's like spirit is like the in between state of like I guess like I want to say like I guess the 5D metaphysics, like the stuff you can't see but you know is there. Kind of like how Nikola Tesla was able to discover wireless electricity. Okay, it's not there, but he definitely proved it exists by you know what I mean? By harvesting it.
So the spirit that you get when you're born, as you say, when you die, you're that spirit. Is that what you would say?
Essentially, like spirit is all around us. It's like an energetic field, like a connecting, like a conduit, so to speak. And it connects us to whatever is around us. And if I go by like the Bible and things like this, it indicates that there's evil around us, right? So how I imagine that is if I'm a scientist, I would imagine that as dark matter. We're told that we're surrounded by it and it's heavier than real matter, but we can't see it. We can't even prove it exists. Okay, so I'm like, oh, well, that's obviously evil, right? In my opinion, that's how I'm picturing it, right?
Right. But
So,
from sorry, I was just keeping on that track of the spirit there. So if the spirit, because obviously we know about mediums and spiritualists and clairvoyants, etc. So would you say then, though, I know you said we're all sort of part of the creation, but obviously these are still individuals after they die, otherwise they wouldn't be talking to us through. So do you, there is such a thing as reincarnation?
reincarnation, yes, absolutely. That's basically what happens. How I'm imagining it. This is the most logical functioning um, formula I can really incorporate that includes basically the religions and the science and everything like this to make all of it make sense is that we have a consciousness. It's individual to us. Like I am me and you are you. But when we die, we return to where we came from, right? A lot of people make it the moon. They put the moon as this symbol, like we all return to the moon. You know what I mean? This is all like the world of spirituality and studying it. So if we die, our consciousness returns to the main source. You know what I mean? But and then once we return to this, we become God. We become part of God, if that makes sense. Because that's where we stemmed from, our consciousness. Now, who created us is obviously who created this consciousness that we all um, separate from, because we can all agree that there's an energetic flow, and like a lot of people call it a collective unconscious or a collective consciousness. It's because our minds are all connected. We are coming from one source, but when we're here, we're separated from it, and we're our own unique like formula of it, like our own compound
But
from that source.
how do we get to reincarnation? Because you said that we would go back to
Hmm.
creation.
Hmm.
So
Well,
then
then
we have,
someone would have a child, and then that consciousness now has a body to deposit into and live life in.
so sorry, I'm just trying to get my head around it. So what you're saying is that and the let's call it a spirit. Spirit goes after we die, and the spirit goes to the collective, and then at some point then goes back into another child when that child's being born.
Well, yes, it gets deposited as like okay, like kind of like how the sperm goes into
Yeah,
the embryo or whatever.
but,
Yes, it's depositing the consciousness into the body.
but you
That's
said
why we're animate and we have the free will and things like this. We separate from the source and have our unique identity.
yeah, you said you need,
We return to it. If that like that's basically my point. When we die, we go back to that,
but you
and
said
then we're
you
just reborn.
sorry, you said unique identity. But if there's a unique identity, then that new child has its unique identity.
Yes, absolutely.
That means
But
there's
you'll have a connection to what you've already occurred through.
Sorry.
as your own like data. Do you know what I mean? Like you're entitled to your own memory and data, your own cloud out there in the universe. We'll call it the cloud data. So
There's
when you're
two.
reborn, you have a whole new dynamic to work with. It's just like with a character selection screen, like when you go to play a video game. You get a whole new combination of things and a whole new body. You know what I mean? And some people like to think we can control this or something. I really don't know this, right? But I mean, we could possibly. They say there's contracts and all this stuff, but I'm not here to really debate that. I'm here to mostly just kind of get you picturing what I picture it to be because it kind of makes the most sense.
Well, there's an error there, really, because if individuals we go back around into a new child, but the child is an individual, so therefore now you've got two spirits inside that child.
No, 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 no,
Ah,
no. The child is born with no spirit. It doesn't have the spirit, like it doesn't get the connection and the drop of like the spark of life, the
the
to be
ones-
animate and have like a personality and an independence and a consciousness. It has to have two people combine into one. The male has to go into the egg and become the brain of the human.
so you're
And then
saying,
it's only one personality in there. It's only one person in there. Only
right,
one drop. But each drop will always be formulated differently. Do you get what
yeah,
I mean? It's kind of like if you were to take all the elements on the chart and like make it all a liquid or something. Each
yeah,
drop comes out differently balanced.
yeah, very similar to what I've said on my videos already. Yeah, no, I'm just trying to clarify. I didn't, want to make sure that there wasn't two because obviously then if that goes around again, then there'll be three and four and
No.
eight.
There is a human body, like a functioning conscious that the human body has built into it, if that makes sense. Kind of like if I compare us to animals. There is an animal side to the human mind. There's two separate brains or something like this. There's the gray matter and then there's the brain. The gray matter is basically the instinctive human function to know to eat, sleep, breathe. You know what I mean? Things like and basically when you get the brain deposited into you and it grows, it's kind of like you can envision it almost like a tumor, but it's needed to make the human being, not just the human body or the human animal. You know what I mean? To elevate it and create it and make that brain actually do something. It has to get put in there and create, and then that's when life starts to create once the sperm. Because I've read that basically the body comes from the egg and the mind comes from the sperm, and it kind of makes sense. It goes in there and then it grows and it creates it it's the Big Bang that creates the creation. It starts it off, but it can't do that without the intellect, the intelligence coming in there and telling it what to do and orchestrating it. But once that's developed, then it gets its consciousness. But it happens during the development stage. Me personally, I think that whatever sperm goes in there is packed with the consciousness itself, and it begins to build everything from there, all on its own.
But is it not possible that there's an entity that joins with us 3 to 4 months in the womb when our pineal gland is forming, which is a receptor, and then stays with us to learn, as it says in everywhere, and then
Mm-hmm.
when we're in charge of that orb for a while, and then the orb crosses back over and goes back into someone else, thus reincarnation.
Yeah, see, I know that there is something called spirit and it's connected with entities, right? Because personally, myself, I do what's called channeling. Now, I didn't pop out of my mother's womb and tell everyone I channel. I just kind of realized that I do this, and I'm really good at mimicking people. So I end up channeling and quoting people often and like in their tone and things like this. And I've been forced to study it because it's kind of like detrimental to my life, we'll say. So I've been forced to study this unforeseen entity slash spirit, right? And I can only reduce it down to basically suggesting that it's just like, I don't know what to really call it. It's almost like people blame their bad thoughts on this. And it could be sourced from, like I said, dark matter. It could be like impure thoughts. But the human is supposed to be intelligent enough to mentally not really be affected by impure thoughts or evil or this dark matter. We're built not to. So it's kind of like as if like we got a virus and now it's allowed in. So now evil has broken loose upon us. You know what I mean? Like, but how that happened, I'm not sure. All right, but I can basically see that as basically that was the beginning of all of disaster. But if you see it, like I've reduced it to a lot of Christians, that if there is a God and he's created us, they basically put me in a position because I try to put myself as God. I tell them, what would you want me to do with the state of the world? And they basically want me to stop it. Stop it. Just stop it all. Just make it all stop. Get rid of all the bad. And it's like, then what am I? I am a controller. You're not even free. You don't even think for yourself. I make sure everything is perfect and functioning. I have to let the virus in so that the humans can learn how to be their own antivirus because they're given the tools. You know what I mean? If I want to break it down, you know what I mean? So it's like a lot of people, they accept that evil exists, and it's up to us to be the ones to defend against it and to create a world without it. And it's really hard to do. It's like you can't win if you do, and you can't win if you don't. And some people even suggest to me when I do this to them that I just end it all. And I'm like, this is what resets are. What don't you understand about that? There's proof that resets have happened, and they're like, why would God do this? And it's like, well, because God tried that already, and it didn't really work out. You know what I mean? So it's like, if there's like a push to all of this, like a person that flicked the start, that person only knows as it goes. You know what I mean? And they can only repair it as they go, and they can't just start over. Do you know what I mean? So they are an alien in concept because they're not from this reality, but they are who created it. But they're also, like I said, they're not like from another galaxy that flew over here and teleported down. I feel like no. I feel like maybe at one point, before one of the resets, we've been around for at least 36 million years, at least humans. Okay, I don't care what anyone says. This is from my map studies, from all sorts of things. I listen to all the conspiracies. I listen to the religious texts. I read them myself if I feel the need. I go talk to people. I feel like people are the number one source because this is, forget what the books say. What do people think? What are they really thinking up there? What did they deduce from the book? You know, so you got to talk to people and see what they think, see what they accept, see what they want. And I can tell you, nobody knows what they want and nobody knows what to do. But I do like to go back and try to decipher it all. Bigfoot is an alien? I feel like, poof, possibly. I mean, like, good Lord. Bigfoot might be the first Jesus, for all we know. Okay? There was no aliens or Anunnaki. I'm basically done with that unless you have anything else to ask me.
It's coming up to
Don't
15.
mind my hair, too.
I was just doing 15 minutes per person just so I can let other people on. So thank
Trying to
you
respect the 15 minutes. I feel like I'm about there.
very much. Yeah, 15 now. Yeah, lovely. Thank you so much for taking the time today.
Yes, you're
Very
welcome.
interesting thoughts.
I'll try to check out some of your videos since you
Yeah,
said that some of the things I said aligned with them. I would
yeah.
like to see them because I'm sure we're on the same page. I just might not be translating it properly, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Okay. If you can remove me for me, thank you. Okay.
I'm sure you'll
Bye.
do that. Anyone know how to? Sorry. Um, any moderators know how to politely remove? I don't know how to remove. Sorry.
Well, I'll figure it out. I have more options. I'll do it. Hold on. I usually get kicked, so.
Sorry, was rude. Lovely, thank you. That was nice. So if there's anyone wants to chat live, I'll see if there's any people. There's Cole P. I don't know if Cole P's still around. So I'll accept Cole P. I don't know if that
Hey, how you
person is.
doing? Yeah, I've been listening in, and I'd like to share my story if I could with you and see your thoughts on it. I think I actually might have sent you a couple of videos pertaining to this before.
Oh, right, okay.
Actually, it's involving an ancient bloodline that's pre-Columbus, possibly here in the United States.
Right.
And see, I'll tell you from start to finish. You got 15 minutes. I'm gonna try to make it as interesting and point prove it as possible because I like to jump from one thing to another, and it sometimes is very confusing. So this is what I did. About 3 years ago, I decided I was going to build, or I'm sorry, I went with my daughter fishing, and when we were done fishing on the side, I thought I found a stone in the ground that looked just like a meteorite to me. It was very charred, black, and I thought, hey, this thing's super heavy. What are meteorites consisted of? And it turned out that what I found most likely is an iron palisite meteorite, one of only 14 ever found in the United States. Okay. which is, I've got it sitting 10 foot away from me right now, and I've had it tested at a jewelry store, and everything's came up perfectly when it comes to the metal content and what's in it consistently with meteorites. So I find this stone, and not even a few weeks after that, I decide that I'm going to build a table for my house and my wife. And she asked, well, what kind of table do you want it to be? I said, I'm just going to build it, and it's going to be a round table. She goes, why do you want it to be round? I said, I don't know. It wouldn't fit our room very well, but I want it to be round. Now, I know you're thinking to yourself, how is this relevant in any way? And I decided to etch my last name into this table, which is Pendrey, Pendrey. And after it took me 2 days to etch this thing into the table and epoxy it and everything, and I get finished with it, I think to myself, wow, I did a lot of time and effort in my last name. I want to see exactly where I came from. So I started doing a lineage trace and looking back into my ancestors. It started with, Ancestry.com and stuff like that. And it started kicking something wide open that I could not believe. Now, between the ages of 8 years old and 13, every single night I would have a repetitive dream of a red dragon tearing my roof off and putting its face down inside of my home, eye to eye with me, and I'd wake up in terror. This dream would happen every single night between the ages of 8 and 13 years old when I hit puberty. I remember
Wow.
waking up and not having this dream, and I think to myself, wow, I didn't have the dream, and I was happy because of it. Now, later down the line, 3 years ago, I start looking into my lineage, and I find out there's a story in England of King Arthur coming to the New World prior to Columbus with Prince Madoc, and that was actually written in like history books in the 20s and stuff. You ever heard of the story of Prince Madoc and King Arthur actually being real people and coming to the New World prior to Columbus?
Obviously, I'm aware of King Arthur, but not the first part that you just said.
Okay, well, Alan Wilson is one of the leading historians on King Arthur lore, and he just passed away last week. He was done 40 plus years worth of research on King Arthur, and he believes that him and Prince Madoc took a trip to the New World, landed in Nova Scotia, went down south to southern Ohio at the Ohio River, and settled at the Fortress of the Ancient, which is known to be pre-Columbus. This is what he says in England 100%. This is the story he believes from what he's read in documents and historical events and things that he's gotten documented in paperwork. Well, the Kentucky Historical Society turns out has the president Lee Pennington stating that Prince Madoc was a real man for sure, and he was most likely in southern Ohio. So I find out that my ancestors, with my last name being Pendrey, lived in southern Ohio in Greene County and owned thousands and thousands of acres worth of land, including the Fortress of the Ancient, the land adjacent to the Serpent Mound, and the Nephilim Mound, which is a pyramid structure pre-Columbus that was built and it's missing its top. The top of it was removed to make a levee for Buckeye Lake down south. Well, the Serpent Mound actually points to the Draco constellation. Now, my last name, Pendrey, if you translate it, the Pendrey would have been pronounced Pendrai. And Pendraig is the way you would have said the Pendragon name in ancient Welsh.
Right. Okay.
So, if this is true, and this man literally migrated over here pre-Columbus, and they're responsible for building the Fortress of the Ancient, the Serpent Mound, and the Nephilim Mound, it all points towards the same thing. Now, the place in Greene County in 1830, the first settlers called the town Madoc because they believed that they were walking in the footsteps of Prince Madoc himself. That's the same land that my ancestors owned, and the name Pendrey has stayed. So it ties in absolutely perfectly with my dream, the stone, the sword in the stone, the round table I built, putting my last name into it. It all points towards all this, and it seems like I've been led down a path just leading me to this conclusion. Like it's been set up long before I was here.
Have you been to any sort of mediums, clairvoyants, or anything, hypnotists, or?
No, I've never talked to a hypnotist or anything like that. But I actually seen a psychologist as a child because of this dream I would have with the red dragon, and their conclusions when I was a kid because it terrified me as a child. Saw a child psychologist when I was a child, and they told me I have a problem with authority, and if anybody gets angry or upset with me, I'm terrified to stand up for myself. That was their conclusion. I thought that for 25 years until I found out this backstory to where my family comes from. And I think about when my grandfather was alive, he used to tell me, your last name's important, very important. Don't let people misspell it. Don't let people mispronounce it, and know that it's more, this name is more important than you'll ever know. And I always thought, hey, I meant your last name, you stand by it, and make sure to be a good man so you represent your last name correctly, is what he meant. Turns out he might have meant something totally different.
Right, yeah. I mean, came on and you said your surname. That was the first thing I thought was Pendragon.
And then that ties into my full name is Cole Lawrence Pendry, Law, the center part of it. So then I also find out this, okay? My ancestors weren't just Pendrys. There also is a branch off through a female name called Ludlow. We had Ludlows in my family ancestry with about 200 plus years back or whatever, okay? Well, those are the same Ludlows that the Legends of the Fall were made with Brad Pitt. You ever seen that movie?
I have not, I'm afraid. Sorry.
Okay, well, that's a movie actually about my ancestors, General Ludlow. He was an old general back in, when the Indian times and new settlers or whatever, and it's about him and his three sons. Turns out I'm relative to them. Now,
Wow.
when I think about the Ludlow name, I start looking into the King Arthur lore and story. I look and I find out that the largest standing castle in England is named Ludlow Castle.
Yeah.
There's earthwork mounds all around Ludlow Castle, which is kind of unique for England. I know you guys have earthwork mounds all over the place, but the amount of them around that castle is very unique. Southern Ohio has more earthwork mounds than anywhere else in the United States.
Right.
Now, I look into the Knights Templar aspect of this thing, right? And one of the messages I seen in a written letter by a Knights Templar was, if all the answers and knowledge you seek, you will find them in Ludlow's Keep. Talking about Ludlow's Keep, maybe the castle in England. Well, what if it's the person they're talking about?
Mm. Okay.
That's where I come from. And what if that story and that legend's actually talking about the Ludlow name, not the castle and the keep in it? Meaning that the person that with the Ludlow name is the keeper of the information.
Okay.
So all these things that I'm finding, I've searched and tried to disclude it through, only thing I keep finding when I look into the history and a new piece of information points towards this being real, not the opposite. I found nothing to disclude any of this. And actually, the president of the Historical Society in Kentucky, Lee Pennington, says 100% that what the history reads and writes upon this man meshes perfectly to your family and the story that they have. He's
So what?
blown away.
Why do you think you have the dreams then? If even if you're just related, what would be the connection to the dreams?
The dream itself, it was something pointing me, like I said, a pathway set up before me for me to follow. Me dreaming of a red dragon is not coincidental considering King Arthur had two dragons. King Arthur had a red and a white one given to him by Merlin. The red and the white one fought, and the red one was victorious. That's the story in King Arthur legend and lore. Well, that red dragon would visit me every single night as a child. And the place that I would be in the dream, it wouldn't be my home. It would be like a castle type structure with stone walls, and the floor would be black and white checkered. And these are things that I remember vividly, even though it happened 20 years ago. I still remember this dream verbatim, step by step, exactly. And that kind of shocked me considering my last name and if it's tied to the Pendragon last name. Pendragon's definition, by definition, means serpent king.
Have
What are
you
the odds of that?
have you looked up any relatives of Pendragon that may be still around in the UK?
Well, that's the thing. When it comes to the Pendragon lore and everything, it happened through a 230-year time period, they wrote and spoke of the man King Arthur. So the only way I think that could have possibly went down in Alan Wilson's thought process is that there had to have been three Arthurs, father to son, that had the same name and had the same status for this to be written about. You know what I mean? So when they
Mm.
state a story about King Arthur, and then 100 years later they write another story about a battle with King Arthur, they're talking about his son, not the same man. That's where it gets misconstrued.
The research you said, was it Alan Wilson, wasn't it?
Yes, he actually just passed away last week, and it was really upsetting. But he 100%, if you watch his documentaries and all the
Yeah, I
books that
know.
he's written.
Yeah, did he really pass away? Oh, that's a shame because he was worried because there was one point with his research to do with King Arthur, he got vandalised, his place got broken into, all this kind of
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
Do you remember?
there's a lot of people that don't want his story to be true, and if it is true, imagine the repercussions it could have on the crown.
Mm.
Imagine if my bloodline's tied to this, and it's still like I could take a DNA test. This would literally link me to King Richard III in England. They dug up. This bloodline will literally put me closer to the crown that's what's sitting on there at the moment. That's something that nobody wants to happen. Well, that could end up putting me in like, pretty much danger.
Well, I mean, yeah. How did he die? Because, as I say, I think there was a lot of people out for him because of his research.
Well, he was in a nursing home and he was 90 some odd years old. So,
Right.
his last birthday card or whatever, a bunch of people that were, fans of him and his research and stuff, we sent him a birthday card with all of our signatures and blessings on it and stuff. That was the last contact I actually had with the man.
Oh.
And Barham Blackett is actually his associate and the person he worked with, but he's very elusive. You can't find him just because of that cause, the things that happened to Alan,
Yeah. I was going to say he had a partner that helped him. Yeah.
But they wanted to give him a Lifetime Achievement Award to the Historical Society in England, and he refused it because they discredited his work for over 40 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They said that what he says is can't be, and he's proven it multiple times that what he says is 100% correct, written in documentation. And they just, you can't, it's the hidden research thing. You can't change the narrative that somebody else wrote down because it hurts their reputation whether they're here or not. So it's literally considered a forbidden type thing.
So I guess you do believe that the body that they found in, I think it was in Wales, wasn't it, in a car park or something, is the body of the king, or
King
do you?
Richard III, that's the man that I believe that my bloodline could be tied to because of the mother of him. His mother would have been tied to the Pendragon bloodline.
So you think that the body is definitely that of the king? Do you?
The time period, the setting, the place, considering what they found out, like area wise, and the problems that they found with him that were also documented from back then. Like he had pelvic issues going on, and that was documented from the body. And, they were able to do forensic testing and find that most of it all fitted perfectly time, date, the problem that he had, the issue with his pelvis, and how he walked, and the skeleton structure showed so. So, yeah, I think it all adds up.
Good. Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I haven't researched it 100%, but yeah, the bits that I have seen does seem. It was what got me is the way that they didn't hear on the news. They didn't really want to give the, they sort of made a joke of it. Oh, people think that this is King Richard type of thing.
Right. Well, you know what I'm saying? That's just a discluding tactic because, like I said, if they were able to prove that that man was real, there's blood to be tested, there's DNA available, and there might be somebody that's connected to that could really scare the crowd.
Yeah. Sorry, it's hit that 15-minute mark. I was trying to do
Oh,
15, but that's a lovely story. Thank you so much, and I hope you can get some, resolution from that. Actually,
I'm actually searching. I'm only a couple of pieces away from putting this puzzle together and having it finished. But I appreciate your time. I won't take any more of it. Make sure to follow me. I'm going to send you these videos again, and you can hear a little bit more about what I found out.
definitely, definitely, yeah. I'm just going to see if I can follow you now. If I ain't already following you, I'm now following you.
All right, sounds like a plan. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Take care.
Cheers. Okay, so that was a lovely guest there, actually. So we've got another person that wants to join again, another 15 minutes, and it's D33 Wayne. It looks like. Don't recognise the names.
Hello.
Hello there.
You.
Hi. How can I help?
I've come across your labs and they're sick. Like the fact you've done like 4 years of research is just like nuts. I just wanted to ask about obviously the differentiation between the creator of all and the God in the Bible. Like, do you? Because I'm just trying to learn as well. Would you say those are more of two different energies? I don't want to say people.
Well, so from the research that I've done, we've got texts that predate the Bible, and the Bible copied those texts. That's not me making that up. That's a
So
general
like
fact.
text, you mean like the Enumalish,
Sumerian texts,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So the Bible's copied not just the Sumerian, well, more sort of Aramaic, etc., because Sumerian's a very hard language. So I I have a feeling they probably copied some of the translations from Sumerian, from Babylonian, etc., which is why they ended up getting some of it wrong.
Mm.
But we do have the original tablets still that cover a lot of the things that the Bible talks about, such as the 6 days of creation, creating the first humans, and so on and so on. So in those tablets, the Sumerian tablets, there's 2 million of them, and when it pertains to what we call the Anunnaki, they're called gods, which leads me to the conclusion that that's their race name, because they keep calling themselves, oh, the gods went here and the gods did this and the goddesses did that. It's the same as us calling ourselves humans. So because we've got all of the tablets talking about them, Shush Clark, no, put that back. Sorry, my boy's being naughty. Put that back.
It's fine.
Sorry. Because we've got all of that, to me, there is no way that the Bible is not talking about the Anunnaki or those as gods. I mean, even the tablets talk about them as lords. And again, this is predating the Bible. So these are the same people that say that they created a creature on Earth to carry their baskets. In the very first language ever, it's talking about a higher species creating a lower species to do their work for them. And of course, we've got fused chromosomes. So, there's no way I can ever imagine that the Bible's Clark. Shush. He's talking to himself. Sorry. There's no way I can imagine that the Bible's talking about an almighty being when we've got the tablets that predate the Bible that the Bible copied from. But the Anunnaki apparently talk, because I haven't read this particular text, but the Sitchin supposedly did, Zachariah Sitchin, and he talks about the Anunnaki talking about a creator of everything.
Yeah.
But what that is, it's not described. So it's not what's in the Bible, because the Bible is literally copying the stories of the Anunnaki. So that's that. But the creator of everything could be a thought, if you go by the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. It could be another alien race on another dimension that was messing around with particles like the Hadron Collider and accidentally creating a universe, which is what we could possibly end up doing. So it doesn't really give us a clue on what the creator of everything is.
Yeah, as you said, it seems like from even the research I've done that there was a creator of everything, or they called the one. I don't know if it's one of the readings where it says the one above all won't be happy with what they've done, because it seems like, as you said, they kind of experimented with a hominid that was already on here,
Yeah.
and then made us. So, like saying that because these are gods, would you say we have that DNA within us as well? So the kind of, because it seems like even when I look at the Tower of Babel event, like my kind of opinion on that is that it seems like they were trying to build a Stargate, and whoever the god was at that present moment wasn't happy with the way humans were coming together and the connectivity of humans, and kind of, separated, and languages, etc. So, like, would you say like we have that Anunnaki DNA inside of us as well, because they're essentially our creators? Well, thank you.
So the way I see it is, obviously we've got Neanderthal DNA in us, even in dark-skinned people, if you believe the new research from Princeton University. So it looks like Neanderthal is the hominid species that was used in South Africa, and then the Anunnaki added their essence, which created what we call the Homo sapiens. Now, someone suggested once that maybe the Anunnaki's name would be Homo sapien. In other words, the Homo sapien part, because we've got a missing link, which is obviously the Homo sapiens suddenly appeared. So what you just said is pretty much what someone else has said, is maybe the Homo sapien part, because we've got Homo sapien and then obviously we've got the Neanderthal DNA in us as well, but maybe the Homo sapien is actually the Anunnaki's DNA as well, if that makes sense.
No, interesting. And then because the Anunnakis, the Atlanteans, were these the Egyptians that were on the Great Walls, etc.? Were they the same, those gods, so Osiris, Isis, or is that different as well? Because I feel like these stories are just kind of told over and over again with just different iterations, if that makes sense.
Yeah, close. So from my research, the Anunnaki were the 12 main gods. There was 12 main gods of the Anunnaki, which ended up being the same 12 main gods in Greece and the same 12 main gods in Rome. Egypt was slightly different. So you had Ra and Ptah. Ptah would have been Enki. Ra would have been Marduk.
Yeah, Marduk. Yeah.
Married a human woman in Egypt, and they had children which were not Anunnaki. They would have been, in Greek terms, demigods. Excuse me. And then those children had children which became Osiris, Seth, and Isis, and that's where those stories come from. So they weren't none of the Anunnaki's gods. They were the offspring off of Marduk or Ra. But the other gods, such as Zeus, Poseidon, and so on, they were all the 12 main gods, Anunnaki gods.
Even when you say 12, I kind of link that to astrology as well. Because for me, that's the more and more research I seem to do, it just seems all connected, like science, spirituality, etc. I feel like eventually, if the mainstream can put their egos aside and they also join forces, we make major reinforcements. But I don't know if the system wants that. Well, clearly they don't. But yeah, would you say the 12? Because that 12 number always seems to come up, obviously, with astrology as well and star signs, etc.
No, I mean, I hear what you're saying. Forgive me for saying no, but there's other numbers out there. There's 6. There's 7. I did an actual video showing all the different ancient numbers that people believe in, and literally it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
So it just, it's just numbers that in my opinion, it's just numbers that people assign to things. That it's like people saying, oh, in the olden days there were serpents, but carvings of serpents, but there was carvings of bulls, there was carvings of goats, there was carvings of all sorts of animals, crocodiles in Egypt. Yeah. So I think people look at something and want to attribute stuff to it. So, I mean, also the Anunnaki originally had 13 months in a year, so it wasn't actually 12 months. They changed.
Similar to the Ethiopian calendar that they have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it was just something that we've all latched onto, one of those. There's a name for that kind of thing, but I can't remember it.
And then even when you say Jesus or Yeshua was a hybrid, so would you be implementing that he's Anunnaki as well, or half Anunnaki?
So I did a video, I'm guessing you've not seen it. I actually did the video and it's up on TikTok if you want to go scroll back and find it. But basically, my research took me from... that's why it's like 20 or 30 minute video, so forgive me if I'm trying to condense it. But bottom line is, Marduk, who would have ended up being the only true God at the time of Jesus, which is why Jesus says there's only one true God. I mean, why say that if there's no other gods kicking around? But it basically, Amen, which is what's in the Bible, every time people say, our Lord, Amen, is actually saying Amen. Amen in Egypt is Amen.
Yeah.
And Ra ended up being Aten as well, also a sun god. So Ra was a sun god, and then he disappeared because he was had issues with Inanna and was banished and whatnot. But anyway, he came back and created a species to be a monotheistic leader in Egypt, which is why you've got Akhenaten and Nefertiti with their elongated skulls and their wide hips, and their grandparents also, and they were the first ones that Marduk would have genetically modified to create a new ruler in Egypt to worship him as Aten, the sun, still the same sun god. And then down the line, when Marduk would have been in charge, in my opinion, he took Mary, genetically modified her, or maybe not necessarily genetically, but maybe done had his wicked way. And she came out, Jesus came out with the glowing skin, which is what Noah had, when Enki was his father. So it kind of leads up. And of course, then it's a one monotheistic, one true God again, but Amen, which was Amen, which would have been Marduk. So I cover it a lot more better in a long video, but.
No, I definitely go and look at that video. But yeah, no, it's just interesting stuff, because I think even what I think her name was Nikki was trying to say is that how it seems like the creator or wherever we come from seems to be expressing itself in a multitude of different ways, and it's like essentially, I don't know if we're like feedback monitors to that, but it seems that way, where this is just an experience. And then you kind of just go from there. You download from whatever's up in the sky, the Akashic records, and then you kind of go from there, and you experience what you experience. And then I think that's where the concept of reincarnation comes in. Well, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I've done a 3-hour documentary on everything you need to know about spirits. I've spoke to clairvoyants, mediums, and spiritists. I paid them to answer just simple questions that I'd had done for them. So my conclusion is that the spirits that join with us are an entity, a life form that's not part of us, but they join with us to learn, and then they bugger off, and then they go round, and our memories are inside them. That's my take on it.
Wow, interesting. Well, I'll let you get on with your evening anyway, but I'm going to follow you anyway, because the information is very much needed and it's sick. So I appreciate your time.
That's very nice of you to say so. Thank you very much for taking the time. Lovely to chat to you.
No, you too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Bye. That's nice. Nice gentleman. So obviously I've missed loads of questions, etc. So I was going to shoot off at 8-ish, but if one more person wants to come on and do another 15-minute stint, that's no problem. I'll take someone's chat if someone wants to. So I'm just going to find some questions in the meantime. So I'm at the bottom, so forgive me, I've not been reading all the questions. Right, sorry, I'm just people are chatting to each other, so I'm trying to find. But if anyone wants to come on and do a live chat with me, you're more than welcome. Sober Dragons wrote RIP Alan. Yeah, I remember watching his videos on richplanet.net. If anyone's interested in the King Arthur story that the gentleman was talking about earlier, I would suggest looking at a website called Rich Planet, or one word, RICH, richplanet.net. Richard D. Hall. I've spoke to Richard, obviously, but he's great at what he does. He doesn't just do aliens; he also covers conspiracies such as the Madeleine McCann missing. I won't say missing. What mainstream want us to believe missing, but we all know what happened to anyone that watches that video that he done knows what happened to poor Madeleine. And those parents should be, but they're not. So, moderator Kerry blocked someone. I'm just trying to find what David was saying, but I think when you block them, I'm not able to read their messages. So yeah, sorry. Anyway, so if anyone wants to join, feel free. Kerry's wrote, "Hi Clark, raid the fridge." Yes, he did. Thank you very much, Kerry. Whose side are you on? I saw him walking off with Christ knows what. He was trying to get ham from the fridge. He will just sit and eat ham on its own. Cole Peters wrote, "There you go, sent. Make sure to watch and let me know what you think. Thanks for your time." No problem. Yes, no, I will. Thank you, Cole. That was the gentleman that was joined in and was explaining stuff. I was very interested in that. So if anyone wants to join in on the live, please jump in now before I sort of shoot. Science, math, and things was right. I doubt the prophets of the Bible told God to be quiet while the aliens speak. I doubt the prophets of the Bible told God to be quiet while the aliens speak. Not sure what that means. Obviously, I've missed a hell of a lot of stuff. Yeah, I'm struggling. I wish I could understand what that means. Told the God to be quiet. I'm missing something, I'm sure. Sorry. Hemlock has wrote, oh no, another one in here. Again, I've missed a chunk, so I'm not sure which one you're referring to. Sorry, Hemlock. Scrolling down. Mr. Wineland has wrote, you'll just be yapping about whatever. And one could reply, Yol just came on to talk about us yapping. Why bother coming on? Seriously, and typing that? Just move on. Sober Dragons wrote, it's like going to anyone's... I could just do that to absolutely anyone's live and go, you're all just yapping, because that's what people do. Sober Dragons wrote, Neanderthals were just really old pre-flood humans. I would disagree simply because Neanderthals were alongside humans 300,000 years ago. I think Neanderthals died out 60,000 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. Hey Google, when did Neanderthal die out?
Here's what I understood from Wikipedia.
Shinaf waffles on.
Neanderthals became extinct around 40,000 years
40,000.
ago. Do you want a little more context?
No, shut up, stop, go away. You're lucky I didn't bury you in the bin the other day.
Okay.
So yeah, 40,000 years. So Homo sapiens have been here for 300,000, so they couldn't have been pre-flood humans. I mean, I'm guessing you're referring to pre-flood Homo sapiens because they were both here at the same time, two different species. Scrolling down. D-Mode has wrote Atlanta, Georgia, Atlantis. Without sounding rude, and please don't take this the wrong way, I've given evidence of where I believe Atlantis is, and it has amazing amount of evidence. Anyone else has maybe one bit of evidence, maybe a circle in sand or in mud. But I actually know, or I've pointed out where Thoth's temple is. Thoth was the Atlantean. So straight away you got to say, wow, okay, I've got to listen to what this guy's got to say. Then I point out that the actual city was built in circles. Wow, with lakes in between. Wow, that's matching Plato, even though I don't use Plato, but it's matching Plato. So I'm not knocking your D-Mode. I'm just going to say, how much evidence have you got of a city being sunken? Oh, mine's sunken as well, by the way. Yeah, my list just goes on. Watch my pinned video, and I bet, without sounding rude, I bet mine's going to outweigh any other person's evidence ever. I mean, you can't get more than that, can you? Thoth's temple, who was an Atlantean, and when I say Atlantean, the name wasn't Atlantis back then. I cannot remember the name of it. I did read it and hear it once, but I can never remember how to pronounce it, even if I could remember it. But yeah, so yeah, I think people may have said D Moders wrote Thoth is beyond the ice wall. That's where we. that explains why you thought Atlantis was Georgia. D Mode, can you name one person that's seen the ice wall? Bearing in mind we have planes, and don't say we've been warned off, because 50 years ago we had no technology to cover the circumference of the planet. Please name one person. Columbus, Blackbeard, anyone. Sir Francis Drake, Joe Bloggs, anyone. You're not going to be able to name one person that's seen the ice wall. And then once you realise that, I'm hoping the realisation will start kicking in. You'll say, yeah, you're right, actually, no one said it. Why am I watching these YouTubers? All they do is talk about the ice wall and they show pictures of ice from, obviously, the Antarctic or the Arctic. Yeah. But they never actually show pictures from anywhere else. But they pretend that they're from elsewhere. So who took those pictures? We want names. Well, no one's ever gives names. Why? Because it's not really an ice wall, is it? No, it's not, is it? I'll tell you what, D-Mode. Follow me, you might learn something. Don't follow the other people. RH Ancestors wrote, good evening all. Have I missed much? I've had some live chats today. I will put this on YouTube and whatnot, so if anyone wants to go back and listen to the live chats I had. It's a girl, Crown, has wrote, what is Anunnaki and Ajiji? So, the Anunnaki is a race, is a name for a race, but it's not the race name. It's a name that was given to aliens, which sounds stupid, but wait until you hear it all. Aliens that came here 450,000 years ago that we look like in their image, funny enough, and they were mining for gold to sprinkle the gold particles in their atmosphere, just like Bill Gates wants to do with us, but with chalk. And they created us in their image using a hominid species that was here at the time. And the Ajiji was just a name. Oh no, Eric Tucker's wrote Admiral Byrd. Oh god, I've already totally destroyed flat earthers with that. Sorry. I'm not even going to waste my time. Anyone that's watched my Admiral Byrd video, and that includes flat earthers, when they realise that I show his words, and people are so thick. Sorry to sound, they are so thick. Because Admiral Byrd says beyond the pole in the South Pole. What's that mean? Go watch my videos, you'll learn something. Please, trust me, my videos are done with heart and with evidence and a humongous amount of logic. Watching anyone else's when it comes to Admiral Byrd is a pointless exercise in stupidity. It really is. Forgive me. Just watch my videos, and if you can debunk that Admiral Byrd video, you won't be able to. No one has. Tens of thousands of views. No one does. King KNG's wrote, Flat Earthers showed evidence of people stopped by the Navy, except they were, probably pirates, wearing tank tops. I don't know what I've not seen that video, but obviously that's ridiculous because obviously before the Navy we had ships, and again, no one's ever. Oh, it's too much. Sorry. Right, just scrolling down. Scarlett's wrote, where's the proof? Which particular bit do you refer to, Scarlett? If you're on about the text that I'm talking about, British Museum, translations are all over the place, including the Oxford University website, peer-reviewed. We've got two fused chromosomes. I've covered this so many times. Best thing to do, anyone that's interested in learning the evidence, actual evidence, anyone that's interested, on my website, it's on TikTok, but you have to scroll down, so it's easy to go on my website. It's on YouTube, but it's easier just to find it on my website and then watch it from there on YouTube. So this is the absolute evidence that tens of thousands of people have watched on TikTok alone, where I show, and I point people to this video. Every day I do these live, I point people to these videos that tell me I'm wrong. And do you know how many's come back on these lives and said, let me chat to you and I will tell you where you went wrong? None. Not one. Anyway, so the video that has the proof that the Anunnaki were here, were the ones in the Bible, not one person's ever going to be able to debunk it because I make sure that I do my homework. That video is on my website called ourtruehistory.co.uk. Scroll down on the homepage where it says click here for the evidence. Click that. That's 34 minutes or something on that version. However, on my Patreon, there's hours more, so you can knock yourself out a lot if you want to. Diane Warriors wrote, they are called extraterrestrials because they come from extra land beyond the ice wall. No, Diane, please, no. I'm not going to... I'm not even going to go there. I've destroyed flat earthers terribly. I've destroyed anyone talking about Admiral Byrd. I really have. You guys go watch my videos, come back and tell me where I'm wrong. No one does it. And the extra land is the freaking. Oh, you don't have no idea. I'm not even going to bother. I'm not. I've done that enough, haven't I? Everybody, you know I've done it. So, bottom line is, I'm right, you're wrong. And I know it sounds childish, but I've done it. Go watch my videos, come back, tell me where I'm wrong. You can't, you won't, never happen. And Diane's wrote, there's no such thing as space. You're one of these people. I'm not even going to reply to that, because my regulars... Anyone with half a brain... Oh, no, sorry. I can't even go there tonight. It's not going to happen. I think these people deliberately come on just to wind me up. They probably watched my videos and thought, this guy's absolutely amazing, but let's just keep winding him up and saying the same old crap that he's already debunked amazingly. And I have, thank you. Kerry's wrote, Sir, thoughts on Mandela effect? I personally have experienced it. What with the Karate Kid banner, where I thought his head thing was red, and it turns out it's black. Also with aeroplanes, I lived literally pretty much under the flight path, and I used to see aeroplanes every 30 seconds fly over the bloody house. And the aeroplanes used to have the engines underneath the wings. Now they're virtually in front of the wings. Now I went back once I realised that, and I watched an old footage of me going to Gran Canaria, where I was sitting by the window by the engine, because I was filming out, looking down, obviously at the ground below and the ocean and whatnot. Do you know what I see now when I watched it back? A freaking engine in the way. I'm filming an engine. Me. I'm a freaking film director. I've been editing since I was... mate, yeah, me. Filming an engine. No, I did not film an engine. But it's there now. It's right in the freaking way. But it wasn't. So, that to me, the Mandela effect happened, because there's no way I would want to film an engine in the way. I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have bothered. So something happens. I can't, I know you can probably pick any one of the amount of different theories out there, and each one, if not all of them, could be all true. So I don't know. I don't know really what happened, but something's happened. Somehow a timeline's changed or something. But I absolutely believe in it, because I wouldn't have filmed an engine for I don't know. I think it went on for about 10 minutes, because I was filming the boats and stuff. But you can't see the boats now. Freaking engine in the way. History and Coins just wrote, "Where's your proof of an ice wall to dim mode?" I'd be interested to see that proof. Neelio has wrote, "Thoth was a crow-headed god." I mean, you're referring to the helmet that they wear, I'm guessing. Just the Dirt Diggers wrote, "Hi, how true history? Do you believe there are giant trees years and years ago?" I, so you're obviously referring to the petrified ones that people seem to think are giant trees. The struggle I've got is, one of the ones is literally in the middle of nowhere. There's little tiny trees. It's 50 stories high, this tree, shall we say, that's petrified, and it's been cut completely, sliced completely off. 50 stories up. So if it was a tree before it was petrified, and us little humans 50 stories up climbed all the way up there just to cut it down, you could have cut it 20 stories high. You didn't have to go that high up to cut it down. Then there's people saying, oh, well, it was a giant that was, I don't know, a mile high that cut it down. But where's any other tree stumps around? It's literally in the middle of nowhere. Not one tree stump, not one fallen tree, not one petrified anything else other than this thing that's sticking up from the ground. So I struggle very much with that. And the thing is, with that, there are people out there that's got money. There's people out there that live in roughly that sort of area, and they could just go there and chip a bit of the rock off, and take that rock and pay someone to do a scan on it to see whether or not it really was petrified tree. But that's not happened, so that's why I sort of struggle with that, because it's something that we can actually do. It's not like a UFO where we're hoping to see one and we're lucky, if we do. This is still there. That petrified tree, that one I'm talking about, is still supposedly there. So anyone could go there and take a bit off of it. So I don't know. I struggle with that. I can't imagine that being there. It's not to say things wasn't bigger in the past or smaller. I know everyone keeps going on about everything was bigger because of the oxygen, but there were small creatures as well. I think it was a lot to do with food sources, really. I think, in my opinion, not necessarily the oxygen levels, because to us they would have been higher oxygen levels, but the logic says to those creatures back then that was their normal oxygen level. And in, 20, 50,000 years, a million years time on Earth, whatever the oxygen levels will be there will be normal. And there might still be 6-foot people walking around. So they would look back at our point and say, well, their oxygen level was higher a million years ago, e.g. now, so they must have been giants, but we're not. So I don't think it was to do with the oxygen, because it was just normal to them back then. And there were small creatures as well, so it's not like everything was absolutely giant. But yeah, obviously, I think it's a lot to do with the food, the abundance of food back then. Because obviously a bigger dinosaur means bigger food, more food for the smaller animals, and eventually over time they evolved and evolved. Now, how many animals eat other animals on this planet now? We don't have T-Rexes eating Stegosauruses or Triceratops or anything like that. So now we've got lions eating, if you're lucky, a deer. But if you scaled that up, then that makes sense to me that both of those would have been bigger. RH Ancestors wrote, we're not Westeros. That's the only ice wall. Sorry, I don't know what Westeros is. We're not in Westeros. That's the only ice wall. I'm not sure what Westeros is. Sorry, it might be a shop for all I know. Sorry. Diane's right. I can debate it. Yes, like the rainbows literally show you the shape of the firmament. If you anyone, right? Okay. So let me explain something to you, Diane. That's going to make you sad. So you can actually have a rainbow in your house. Did you know that? It doesn't have to be outside. So certain conditions will produce a rainbow. Now, if you've got a rainbow in your house, are you telling me that that's the shape of an ice wall or a shape of a firmament because it's in your house? Because that's the way prisms work with light refractions. Someone teach these people, please. They hurt my head. Wordsmith has wrote, Deanne's wrote to History and Coin, it's been proven via rocket getting stuck in the firmament. Love that. Brilliant, thank you. I know why you pinned that. So, Diane, I have debunked that video big time. Do you know how many people like yourself have told me I'm wrong? Go watch it. It's only about 15 back on my Patreon, on my TikTok videos. Go watch it. I show, not only was there 2,000 odd rockets that year, official rockets going up into space, so only one ever got stuck, supposedly, and I actually edit the video to show you how it was done. And do you know how many people told me I'm wrong? None. You know why I could edit the video? Because I'm smart and I do editing. And so I actually took their own footage and did exactly what they done. You edit out a minute of it slowing down. So it didn't hit a thing. Do you know how fast that rocket was going? 3,000 miles an hour, I think it was, if memory serves me. I do actually explain it all on the video. 3,000 miles an hour, and a pretty much tin rocket hits No, actually, in my video, I actually show, or the previous video to that one, I show a rocket hitting the Earth, coming down at, I don't know, 300 miles an hour, where it went up and come back down. It disintegrated at 300 miles an hour. But Diane seems to think, what a numpty. Sorry, she's just wrote, I'm guessing she's a she. Oh my God, you believe NASA? No, I do my own homework. You're the numpty for believing fucking YouTubers. So, Diane, go watch my video. Why do I waste my time on numpties? I should really just stop, shouldn't I? If my regulars ever want me just to stop going into town on these numpties, because they are numpties, let's be honest. I've just told them how it was done. I edited the footage to make it exactly the same as what the 3,000 mile an hour rocket. How thick do you have to be? Sorry, Diane, but how thick do you have to be to think that a rocket hits an impenetrable dome? Now you're going to say it's not impenetrable. It's got layers of, what can we call it? Misty kind of gelatine kind of stuff, so that the rocket slows down, but it carries on spinning. If you remember, yeah. So it's sort of spinning. Go watch my video. Go watch my video. But you won't. You will not. You've got your little mindset stuck because you follow some. Let's be honest, Diane. Let's cut to the chase. You've watched some numpty that you fancy on YouTube, who's told you everything that you will believe because you fancy this numpty, and now you've become a cult like all the others. Dan's wrote, it's not impenetrable. There's water above the firmament. It's not impenetrable. Listen to the sentence there. You don't have to be an out through history, in other words, a genius, to work out that if it's not impenetrable, why is the water not coming through? Oh crap! That's why that bloke I fancy says it's impenetrable, to stop the waters coming through. Otherwise, it'll be coming through. Maybe if I pretend it's clouds, maybe if rain. That's why occasionally water gets through this impenetrable dome. Well, if it's not impenetrable, why didn't the rocket go through it? Well, because it's impenetrable. You've just dug yourself a hole. When you're talking to someone like me, and I don't mean to sound big-headed, but when you're talking to someone like you have to really get up early in the morning. Go watch my videos, and then feel free to follow me. D Modes wrote, and you believe in aliens, laugh out loud. Only humans and celestial beings. Is that what you think? Let me read that again, everybody. D Mode has wrote, and you believe, anyone that's, I hope you all catch on at the same time. And you believe in aliens, right? So, in other words, with a laugh out loud, in other words, we shouldn't believe in aliens, okay, everybody? Then he's wrote, I'm guessing it's a he, only humans and celestial beings, in other words, gods, is what really we should be saying that's only available, but not aliens. Okay? Is that right? Am I right, D-Mode? So if you're saying that only humans and celestial beings, I'm sitting right next to a cat that's not human and not a celestial being. I should do a live radio show, shouldn't I, where people just ring in and I just show them how silly their comments are. Judd has wrote, in this case, he tried to unalive us all. I'm guessing you're referring to Bill Gates or God. Both of them, one of them almost succeeded, and the other one, I'm frightened, might. KNG Anus wrote, Flat Earth, I read that one. Judd has wrote, he is not doing it for our benefit. No, he's not, if you're referring to Gates of Hell. Eric has wrote, have you been to the South Pole or North? Then it's all speculation. Are you saying that the ice wall, because I think you might have been the person that typed up, are you saying that the ice wall, if I only go to South and North Pole, therefore the ice wall around the whole perimeter of the planet is real? Is that what you're saying? So I have to go to Antarctica, for example, or the Arctic, to be able to prove that the ice wall goes round behind Australia. That sounds a bit numpty-ish to me. Very numpty-ish. I think we have some tonight. I think this is why people like listening to these when I put these on YouTube. They like, I don't know, maybe they don't. Maybe they think I'm the stupid one. I say as wrote Roman Catholic and Christians is different. Yeah, I'm not sure what, but yeah, I know I'm aware of that, and obviously there's other religions as well that are different. Man like Marcus wrote, arrogance doesn't equal higher intelligence. That's me being egotistical. No, but when you're right and you get fed up of stupid comments. I mean, if someone said to you, "Cars have got five wheels," you'd say, "No, they don't," and you know the evidence is there. But someone keeps trying to tell you over and over and over that cars have got five wheels, you'd be like, no, 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 no. And after a while, you'd be going, look, you numpty, come here and let me stooky you. Eric's right, I believe it's both round and in some places flat in some places, and that's what I've seen with my eyes. Wow, how high did you go? Because as you know, a normal plane goes 30, approximately 35,000 feet. In order to see the proper curvature, you need to go as high, at least where Concorde was, 50,000 or higher. So I'm guessing you've been on Concorde or on a spy plane, maybe. Eric, have you? Will I Am has wrote, there is a crater, my friend. Not obviously not what's in the Bible because we've got older texts that literally say the same as what the Bible does. So there's no point in pretending that that's what the Bible's saying. But there might be obviously the 6 days of creation. We've got the tablets as well. But there may be a source or creation, but not the Bible, obviously. One day I'll listen back to all these people's comments. Eric's wrote, "You're spot on, bro." Oh, sorry, Eric, if I was, yeah. 8:15. James said, "Yeah, I did say I'd get off about 8, but I got to talk to someone at 9, so I'll give myself a little bit more time. But I have to talk to someone at 9, otherwise I'll get told off." Will I Am has wrote, God is not an alien, my friend. Unbelievable you say a ridiculous comment. Bless you, my friend. Well, Will, hopefully you're still around. Tell me you're still around. Now, if I showed you evidence, Will, pure evidence, 100% evidence, that the Bible is talking about an alien race that created us humans, and on the 6th day even said, let's rest. If I showed you the evidence of that, would you watch it, Will? Would you? If Will's still here, please write yes, you will watch it. Because what I'll do, Will, is I'll give you the link to the evidence. Because obviously I can't show you it here, but I can give you the link to the evidence. And what you can do, Will, is you could be the first person out of tens of thousands that's watched this evidence and actually give me evidence back where I'm wrong. It's not going to happen, Will. Again, arrogance, but I've done, every time I do these lives, I must say it 15 times at least to people to go away and watch it. Do you know how many comes back? None. They either watch it, which I doubt if they will, because they don't want. They'd be frightened. They would be frightened. That the evidence is there. But anyway. But if anyone else wants to watch the evidence, feel free to go to my website. Thank you, Russ. My website's got the evidence. Obviously, it's on TikTok, but ourtruehistory.co.uk. That's Our True History, all one word. ourtruehistory.co.uk. Scroll down. There's thousands of videos, but I've put this one on the front just so that I can say it to people that I know it would really wind up. So the evidence one is on the front homepage. Scroll down to where it says, click here to see the evidence that the Bible is talking about an alien race that we call the Anunnaki. Go watch that. There's 34 minutes, but there's hours worth on my Patreon page. I've got loads of other videos on my Patreon page, but there's hours worth. So where it stops there, I carry on. I can't remember what's on the 34 minutes, but I go through Enki literally talking about how to create humans. I go through the flood and how they're looking down at us. I think I might even go through Adapa, which is Adam, when he went up to Nibiru. That's just has hours worth on that alone. So it's there for if anyone wants to watch that one. Not many people, religious people, will ever want to watch that. Satan's Choice has wrote a little too slow and hung over, but I believe in the Anunnaki. Feel free to watch that video, and then it literally shows the beautiful thing. The way I work is I make sure that I cover every base. So first, I have to make sure that there was the word translated Anunnaki in ancient texts, not made up. I have to find that word Anunnaki, and I have to find it more than once. And guess what I do? I find that word, and the whole thing, the whole process goes through that. And I also break down the translation of the word Anunnaki, and I also destroy that other person, Michael Heiser, who's a or was, he's now passed, who was a shrill, who actually made, he's a religious person, who made a website saying Sitchin is wrong. Bearing in mind this Michael Heiser writes religious books. It's literally like me writing a book saying God wasn't, God's an alien, and everyone else is stupid. That's what he done to Sitchin. However, I totally destroy him straight away. I mean, I sent him a couple of emails back in 2012. He did reply to the first one. Second one he couldn't because he was busted. Anyway, so I cover my bases, which is why no one's come back to me. I'd be reading, if people could bunk that, my evidence, I'd be reading every bloody live I'm doing. I'd be having, where you showed the evidence of this, that and the other, that's false because, and hopefully they would give evidence where I'm wrong. I would have that all the time, because I know if I saw someone saying something and it was wrong, I would do my very best to prove them wrong. Anyway, sorry, I digressed there. Angelo's wrote, there's not enough evidence to support this, but it's really cool sci-fi. Again, this is from someone that hasn't done any research, Angelo. Think about that. How much research have you done? Well, I've listened to a couple of YouTubers. Okay, and so is that evidence? Well, they looked really nice. One had nice hair. Okay, so that's your evidence, is it? Well, yes, he's nice. He looks nice. So you've not looked into any of the ancient texts. What texts? The one that guy on the YouTube was talking about. Oh no, he was talking about cakes. Oh, okay. So when you haven't done any research, Angelo, then James just wrote, all religions welcome, but please be respectful and no preaching in the chat. So the point is, Angelo, if you don't research, therefore nothing is real. Do you see what I mean? So if someone said to me, there's a giant spider in Madagascar, I'd say no. Nope, wrong. No, but they've seen it. Yeah, but I haven't. Why haven't you seen it? Well, I haven't bothered looking. That's what you've extensively done. You've literally just said you don't bother checking, because if you check, trust me, you wouldn't be saying it's sci-fi. Trust me. Eric's wrote, all is energy, diet, electric and magnetic. Yeah, I'd probably add frequencies in there as well, but yeah. Will I Am has wrote, in the name of Jesus Christ, unbelievable, jog on. So you're telling me to jog on my own channel? How stupid is that? Is this that numpty I said was a numpty earlier? Telling me to jog on my own channel? Yeah, okay, well I might as well just end the live chat, because Will I Am, who's a bit of a numpty, told me to jog on. The logic there, Will, no wonder why freaking Bill Gates wants to depopulate people like him. The logic would have been you just to go. And you see where I'm going with that, Will. But you ain't going to go watch my videos, are you, Will? You're not. History and Coins wrote, all these people, please go and watch those videos and bring in proof. They bring proof to him. Yeah, they see. History and Coins has heard me 1,000 times say to people, "Go watch my videos, prove me where I'm wrong." And History and Coins is probably laughing now at me for saying it so many times. I apologise, History. Leo's wrote, giant jutting out of water icebergs provide good phony ice wall theory. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can't go into that. People will tell me off. Jockey's wrote, the universe is real. We can't even break out through the firmament, though. Do you know, Jockey, how many people have seen the firmament? This is what really winds me up. How many people have seen the firmament, Jockey? This is why I want those people to come on these lives. They don't. They chicken out. I get nice people like today. Lovely people. The people that I want to get at will not come on a live because I will say to them, how many people have seen the firmament? And they'll go, hang on a minute, let me go back and watch that YouTube video. Oh, the person on the YouTube video didn't tell me how many people's mentioned the firmament. But it's in the Bible. That's what you're going to say. And then I'll say, well, there's about 12 people that's seen the firmament. Okay. And then I'll say, they were from the Middle East. Unfortunately, now someone wants to do a live knowing that I should have shot off at 8 o'clock, crafty. You have to catch me next time. So basically, I'm half hour behind. I should have pretty much gone half hour ago. So I can't go on with I can't this time. But please, if you think of any of these silly things that these other people are saying, please. Anyway, so these people that have seen the firmament that you so religiously seem to think that you know everything about, these people, guess where they were? You shouldn't have to guess. You should know because you've done your research. You have no clue, do you? These people were in the Middle East. All of them. Really? Yeah. How do you know? Because I freaking do my research. And do you know some of those people that mention the firmament, because that's where the Bible gets it from, those texts, the older texts. Oh. Some of those people go through the firmament into heaven. No, they don't. They do. They do. Do they? Yeah. But that means heaven's space. Oh my God. And when I say God, I'm referring to me. Wow, you've just caught on that heaven is space, even though it says it in the Bible. The sun, the moon, the stars are in heaven. Which is space. That was the word for space back then. Feel free to follow and learn. There's too many numpties out there in this world now, isn't there? It's so easy to prove people wrong. Diane's wrote, I ain't seen you debunk one thing, with a laughing face. And we all said earlier on, didn't we, people, that when people put a laughing face, it means they know they're in the wrong and they know they haven't got evidence of anything. Diane, I've told you where to go to watch the video that you can debunk if you want to. I've told you. Wow, these people are so... It is a cult, isn't it? All this firmament flat earth stuff now? It's got to be. Queen Mary's wrote, yay, common sense. Oh, thank you. Thank you. It gets me down. I do worry that everyone's slowly turning into weird people. But thank you. That's nice to show that there's someone out there that still appreciates common sense. Jamie's wrote, they will not read and study or do the research. I know they won't. They will just go onto YouTube. I know. Thank you, Jamie. I know I shouldn't waste my time. Appreciate what you just said there. Moon Mook has wrote, Richard Simmons never wore a headband in his timeline. Oh, that was to do with the Mandela effect. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Richard, so not to be honest, I think, was he Kiss or something like that? I don't know, some band. So I don't really know of him that much. But yeah, there's a lot of Mandela effect things out there, isn't there? Angelo, Jane is putting up on my website for those of people that actually want to go and watch evidence. So outrohistory.co.uk. Thank you, Jane. Appreciate that. Angelo's wrote best sci-fi movie ever. I'm guessing that's this person pretending that. I'll move on. Moon Mox has wrote Tinkerbell never dots the I in this timeline. Judge Judy never had a Gable. She did. I used to watch Judge Judy when she was first aired here in the UK. She does have a Gable, sorry. A Gable, is that or am I thinking something else? Was that the one where, I thought it was called a gavel, maybe I'm not wrong, where you hit it on the, on the thing on the desk or on that little puck thing. I have seen her with that. She very, very rarely uses it. Very rarely. But I had seen her use that, if that's what you're referring to. Deanne's wrote, research both sides. Baloney. Baloney. That's what Judge Judy would have said to Diane. Baloney. You're full of baloney. You are full of baloney, Diane. You haven't. You have not. Moonmux wrote, Shaggy never had an Adam's apple. From Scooby-Doo. I remember it. Thinking about it, I remember it. Is it sort of stuck out? Now, whether I'm remembering it from maybe when my kids were watching it, as opposed to me some 400 years ago, I don't know. Queen Mary's, I remember over 30 past lives, and I can vouch for thousands of years of lost human history. Yeah, I mean, obviously, after the flood is really when our history starts, even though, as you say, we was here for thousands of years prior to that. So I would agree with you on that one. Jamie's right, I understand the Earth is flat, however, I'm still confused how the pole shift thing can happen. Watch my videos, Jamie, and you'll see how simple, just my pinned video that's on my TikTok has confused flat earthers, and not one person's gave me a decent explanation of it. Moonmox wrote, there's a video of an ice wall. Yeah, but that's Antarctica or Arctic. So that's the thing, people put that out there and I was going, look, there's an ice wall. Yeah. Where is it? They don't tell you where it is, obviously. They can't say, oh, it's behind Australia, because technically if there was an ice wall, it would be everywhere. And they just show the same pictures and videos. Master has wrote best documentary or book on Anunnaki. So I would always go with the Lost Book of Enki to start with. My video, the one that I keep hyping up, free of charge, that's on my website, backs up Zachariah Sitchin's research. So where the book called The Lost Book of Enki is done by a guy called Zachariah Sitchin, he didn't do it word for word because it would be a little bit confusing to people. So he did it paraphrased, shall we say, to make it understandable for us to read. However, people criticised him for that, so I've gone back in this particular video where I show the evidence, and I found the translations, not by Sitchin, by other people, some over 100 years old, the translations. And I found the translations that Sitchin either read the same tablets or read the translations or translated the tablets himself. I show those translations, and I not only show just the translations, but I actually show evidence as well, such as the statues and whatever else that goes along with the evidence that I'm showing. So, if I was you, I would start with the Lost Book of Enki, then watch my video just to back it up. Once you've backed that up, then everything after that, either from my side, there is researchers out there that don't go by evidence. I don't want to name their names, but there are really bad researchers out there that are very well known. That so I mean, they could probably say the same about me, but when I ask them for evidence for the things they say, they can't do it. But if they ask me for evidence, I'll be able to show it. So yeah, Lost Book of Enki, go with that first. You will be amazed, and then watch my video to prove that what's in that book is correct, and then bang, away you go. Yeah. Diane's wrote, I have lots of proof on my Facebook, but this app stops us sharing that in any way. Sorry, we all know what kind of proof that will be. It'll be a picture of some ice. It won't be a picture of the firmament, because obviously the firmament is actually the gap between the atmosphere and space. I mean, you could technically call it atmosphere still if you want. There's a name for it. NASA's given it a name, but it's not firmament, obviously. It's when astronauts go up, there's a period before they actually get to space after leaving the atmosphere, and that's pretty much the layer that they're referring to. It's amazing, isn't it, how 12 people in this. I hope these people are still listening. Think about this, people. Just forget your boyfriends on YouTube for a second. Think about this. It's amazing how 12 people over a few thousand years in the Middle East are the only ones that ever seen the firmament. Think about that for a second. You've got to use a bit of a brain. Stop going back to the YouTubers. Just think for a second. 12 people, approximately, and they were all ancient, without telescopes. Think. Come on. Use that little brain and think, he's got a point. But, sorry. Anyway, it scrolled all the way to the bottom. So I'll just go up a few bits and then I'll answer some questions. And then, what do you think of the video that surfaces of Gilgamesh? I think there's actually two out there of supposedly Gilgamesh. So for those of you that don't know, he's supposedly in a stone coffin, but some people say he's in stasis, but he's not in stasis. He actually died. The actual translations of the tablets or papyrus or whatever it was that they translated for Gilgamesh, he died. So, and there was kings after. There were 6 more kings after him. So he's not sitting in stasis for no reason. Yeah, he died. So, do I think that that person in that cave effect with some materialistic things around him was actually Gilgamesh? No. I can see why people would say it is. I don't know. I just. First of all, he would have had to have been in stasis in order for his body not to have decomposed. That's the first one, and we're talking probably 6,000 years, and his body wasn't decomposed at all. So that's my first issue. The second thing was the actual block around him wasn't metallic, wasn't anything. It was stone. You could say, well, maybe the lid had, some tech on it to keep him his body from decomposing. But then you got to think, why bother? He's dead. The Anunnaki did bury their dead in 2-ply cloth, as it says in the translations that I've read. So you got to ask yourself, why bury someone that's why? Now they did put him. They told us in the translations where they buried him, which was under the Euphrates River, and as the river's dried up, we've now found entrances and all sorts of stuff. So yes, there would have been a place where they hid his body, which still makes sense. But 6,000 years. And no decomposition, however you pronounce it, whatsoever, is that's where my logic gets me. You see, that's where I struggle with that one. So it doesn't make sense to me at all. Culture has wrote any more info on King Thoth. Are you talking about? There's a full name for Thoth, but I can never remember it. I'm trying to remember it now. I can't remember. Technically, he wasn't a king if you're referring to the same Thoth that I'm thinking of. I guess you would know him as the Atlantean if that's the same one that you're thinking of. When you say any more info, I don't know how much you know already for me to tell you any extra. So I can't really answer that without telling you stuff that you may already know. Sorry. It scrolled to the bottom again. I don't know if that was people getting muted or whatever. So I've scrolled a little bit up to the top again. Truth Seekers 2 has wrote, I think the dome is not a physical form, more so an energy force, with sort of a question mark type emoji. Yeah, I mean, there is no dome. I don't know why people still use the word dome. Again, I've debunked that from the Encyclopedia Britannica as well. I've done that. No one told me I'm wrong. They can't tell me I'm wrong because I'm right. So yeah. So it's not actually a dome. Thuk has wrote. Do people actually believe this? When you do, okay. So the question is, when you do research, so whatever job you do, imagine if I said, and you told me your job, and I said, do people really believe you do that? Think about that for a second. How much research have I done into your job? Zero. How much research you've done into this? Well, I've watched TV. There you go. That answers your question, Numpty. He took Thook. Sorry. Think before you talk, people. So many thick people out there these days. Sage has wrote, every religion talk reference to the people of the stars being from the heavens. Correct. Yeah, they do. Spot on. And that's because the heavens was space, and they came from space. Yeah, spot on. But religious people don't want to see that. Leo's wrote, it's total nonsense for a useful purpose. I'm hoping you're not saying what I'm saying is total nonsense, because technically 2 million tablets is pretty impressive over thousands of years to have one narrative about beings from another planet, and it does say that. I've read it out. I've done enough research, and I've showed enough. Anyway, Nubi has wrote, I watched your TikTok videos, and honestly, not much proof provided. Just points to us to your patrons. So which particular video did you? Right. Okay, Nubi, please don't go away. Right. Let me have a look. It's got 50. Oh, right. There's a troll. That's why. Okay, no problem. Thought so. My recent TikTok videos do point to certain things, yes. But the Jesus' Father's there. The main one that I'm talking about is there on TikTok, which you've obviously not watched. So you've probably just watched one. And looking at your bio thing and everything, you're a troll. The Sage Oracles wrote, do you ever get tired of knowing too much, or do I? I do. Some things I'd rather not even know. No, because no. I mean, scary things like what's going to happen to our world shortly is horrible. But learning this kind of stuff, it keeps me active in terms of, if I was going to work, for example, I'd be listening to translations or something of ancient tablets, which keeps me stimulated as opposed to listening to the radio, which really brings me down. And I think it's designed to do that, to be honest. No one ever talks happy stuff anymore. Tookers wrote, pure waffle this. Maybe it's because people like you are blocking me from actually explaining stuff, because too many numpties out there tonight. It's quite amazing. Thook wrote, doesn't even make sense. Obviously, you're just saying that because, and again, another person that hasn't got their own videos, which I would call a troll. Time to 8:42. Thank you, Jane. I will have to shoot fairly soon then. Took wrote, absolute malarkey. Again, not even going to bother with. I tell you, I'm just going to block that person. Mods, feel free to block people that continuously just talk crap, because it slows me right down. Look, again, another mention. Tookers wrote nonsense. This, so he's just going to keep, and I keep reading it out. Joseph wrote, bro, check this out. Angel, Anel, alien. Interesting, but the translation of angel is messenger. That's the Hebrew word for messenger. So I wouldn't have said alien, because that's a really modern word, alien. An angel was around 2,000 years ago, and alien wasn't. So for them to have wrote that, knowing that it was a translation of the word alien, which we've only recently no, I probably wouldn't say that. Whoever wants to do the live chat, I won't be able to do it tonight because I should have gone 40 minutes ago. I can't help but keep reading reading these stupid questions out. Not your questions, other people's. Jamar's wrote, Moon is a reflection of bigger Earth, and we live in the crater. No, I wouldn't have said so. Um, no, I mean just ask any hospital. Just do any research in whether or not a full moon produces more hospital admissions with headaches, etc. And that's because we're bags of mostly ugly water, as quoted by Star Trek. But we are, and we're affected by the moon and the moon's gravity. Of course, if it's just a reflection, then it wouldn't have gravity, in which case we shouldn't get affected, and that means every time there's a full moon, we should have no ill effect whatsoever if it's just a reflection. But of course, we do. It's scientifically proven over and over and over. So it's not just, you know. So yeah. So whoever's come up with that silly idea of that we're a reflection, they just yeah. Sorry, it scrolled suddenly to the bottom, so I'll use that as my chance to almost sneak off soon. Craig has wrote, where can I listen to ancient tablet translations? So on my website, I have a page that has links. It's got links to books, links to websites, links to translations. Feel free to go there. But what I actually do is I have a thing called 11 Labs, which is a website. So it's good for people if they're interested in doing this. So 11 Labs does cost. I pay for it, but basically you can paste in anything you want to paste in, and it will read it out in a tone. It's AI, but it will read it out in a voice that is as good as me, better than me talking here. So there's times that I go there and I just dump stuff in there, and then I put it on my phone, and then I'll drive to work and hear it being read out if I haven't got the time to read it. And sometimes I play it back again on the way home just so I can, really drill it in. So that's a really good thing to do. You can get other ones that's free of charge, but sorry, people getting muted left, right, and centre here. Wow. Sorry, mods. I didn't know you was having that much of a problem. Right, I'm gonna have to shoot in a sec. So I'll just read the last few questions out. A Jai has wrote, I think sometimes the elites know that if they don't destroy the population because it's a threat. Oh, thank you, Sage. Sorry, it's been a weird one tonight. There's just, I'm guessing you are smart enough to know that some of those points that people have brought out are really not right. I think sometimes the elites know that if they don't destroy the populations because it's a threat, yeah, possibly, or just worse than me. Laurie's wrote, "Do you believe channelers?" Oh, again, thank you, Sage. That's a good question, actually. Tell you what, go number 2 in the class for that, Laurie. Thank you again, Sage. That's really nice of you. You don't have to. I do this because I enjoy it mostly. Do I believe channelers? It's a really good question because there's a lot on TikTok now, and without sounding disrespectful to them, I've not found one, including Bashar, that actually is talking properly. Now, just put it in a little bit of context. Imagine Bashar, who's the guy that's quite famous, or the character that he supposedly channels called Bashar, that's always available every time that guy wants to go on live TV. It's amazing. But let's just imagine, we all know what the elites are like. We know what the secret military are like. We all have heard the stories of Men in Black warning people about saying that they've seen a UFO. That's because there's Men in Black warning people that have seen UFOs not to talk. We know people have been bumped off for lesser things. So you've got a guy that has all the knowledge of our planet and aliens and future events, and the secret military are letting him just sit there blabbing? Really? Really? So when you talk about channelers and they're, probably not as famous as him, Um, what are they? What are they gaining out of it? If they're doing it for fun, then you got to ask yourself, what is the point of an alien wasting his time going through someone that's doing this as a bit of a giggle on TikTok? Think about that for a minute. I know I wouldn't want to go and channel myself through someone on another planet if they're going, hey, look, I got 12 followers, woo! And I'm like giving them all the information about the whole universe and about what happened on their planet, even though I wasn't there. Giving them all this information. Yeah, it does. So I think that answers my question on channelers. Okay, so just last couple of questions then, and then I'll have to shoot. But I do have a website with evidence on there, videos on there, all sorts of stuff. It's called outtruehistory.co.uk. The Patreon stuff is edited documentaries that I do. Like, I spend a long time making those, unlike the videos that's on my website, which, are short 1 minute ones. These other ones on Patreon are very long, in-depth, amazing videos that I don't talk about anywhere else. So that's the difference between the two, the website and the Patreon. And the Patreon is pinned up, outtruehistory.co.uk. Thank you very much, History. So last couple of questions then before millions more suddenly keep coming in. My boys just come back to raid the fridge again. Domism is starting to develop into a new religion. It is, isn't it? It's mental. Cultures wrote, I hat about Billy Carson, question mark. I hat about Billy Carson, question mark. If you're asking what my thoughts are on Billy, I think you've probably seen, if you've watched some of my videos where I sort of pull him up on things. I don't want to do it, but he's an ambassador for what we're talking about. And if I can find flaws in his things and with evidence, then someone else will. And that will make us look all stupid. And I don't want us as a group of people talking about Anunnaki to look stupid. And that's why I kind of get annoyed with people like Matt LaCroix and Billy even. Don't talk. If you don't know the thing, don't talk about it. But Billy gets a lot of information from people like Matt LaCroix, I've found out. And he kind of mixes it because he hasn't done his own research. I'll caveat that because it appears he doesn't have done his own research on absolutely everything, unlike me. He gets a bits of information and he mixes it up, and that's where I can catch him out, and that's really sad. So yeah, that's my take on Billy. Aliens wrote, I'm not good. Michelle has wrote 100%. Thank you, Michelle. Someone with little faces wrote, ask any native Indian Bigfoot is a spirit. I got told off for saying native Indian before. It's Native American. I wouldn't say every single one, because when the Bigfoots back in the day used to come and grab them and take the slowest runner and then run off, they probably realised that they were physical beings. Clark, shut up! You know what I'm doing. Sorry. Jamel's wrote, what about Indian gods? I am still researching Indian gods. Trust me, I am. There's only really one or two people out there in India that's actually doing any amazing work in looking into this sort of stuff. And unfortunately, because I'm not in India and no one else does this, I have to rely on their research, and then I try and collaborate that, or see whether or not they're right. But so I've still not concluded who, for example, Vishnu was, etc. Obviously, they were, Shiva comes out of a spaceship, so we know that they were to do with Anunnaki. Makayan has pinned up, or someone's pinned up, isn't Atlantis and Anunnaki fictional stories? Do you have any concrete evidence other than... I'm trying to click on the little button to bring it down. I can't read the next bit. Sorry, it's got a little... Now I'm giving myself hearts. Other than lit. You mean literature? Feel free to watch my videos. My pinned video on Atlantis will hopefully prove my location of Atlantis far more than anyone else's is correct. And if you watch any of my videos to do with the Anunnaki, you'll see, especially the one that's on my homepage, literally that the Anunnaki were real and were here. So there's evidence there. And it's not just literature. We're talking about museums have statues of the Anunnaki. People don't realise how much evidence is out there. They just keep saying this is all nonsense, but it's not. I'm going to have to shoot now. I apologise. I should have gone an hour ago. So I don't want to get told off by someone because I'm supposed to bring them at 9 o'clock. And so I apologise. But thank you. I hope you enjoyed this evening. Thank you, Kerry. Bless you. Your book's on its way. Thank you very much for everyone for taking the time to join tonight. Sages wrote, have a nice night. Thank you very much. Thank you. History and Coins give me a fat rose. You don't have to give me a rose. I really don't deserve it. But thank you. There's more worthy people out there, I'm sure. Michelle's wrote, love listening to you. Oh, bless you. Even when I have my little rants, really? Really? I don't know. I can't help it. And Psychic Doctor, it looks like, has just given me some roses. Thank you. I don't normally stay this long at the end to take the gratitude from people. It's nice. Shelley Oz has wrote night. Oh, bless you. Thank you. And Truth Seekers wrote thank you as well. History and Coins wrote night, sir. Harry has wrote Jesus is Lord. Harry, do watch my video. It's about 15 back, maybe 20 back, about who Jesus' father was. I would love your opinion on that. You won't watch it because you'll be frightened. But you never know. One day someone might bother to watch it and give me their opinion on it. Claire's right. I love the rants. Oh, sorry. I don't know. I feel bad when I'm ranting, but I don't know if people like it. But I don't know. Sorry. It just wrote, see you on the next. Oh, bless you. Yeah, thank you. Lewis has wrote, I try never to miss it. Wayne has wrote, you tell it like it is. Thank you. Thank you. This is lovely. I should do this more often, read all the end comments. Hemlock's wrote, great live and well done to the mods for handling the demon peddlers. Yeah, I keep forgetting to appreciate how well the mods do. Obviously, because I don't really see the bad comments because they disappear when the mods mute people. But do you believe in the afterlife? Watch my videos. Ideally on my website because there's 1,000 odd from video number 1 onwards, and I do it in a chronological order. So if you go to my website, click on videos, go to either 1 to 5 or 1 to 50, depends how many you want to watch them in a row. Watch all of them. There's 1,000 odd. And I go through in a chronological order and get to spirits so that you understand about the Eye Horus and all that kind of stuff. So that's the best place to watch them because TikTok, it will take you an hour to scroll all the way to the very bottom. Claire's right, I'm staying quiet, but I think it's singing in. Oh, bless you. Harry's wrote, no fear, only faith. Yes, so in fact, I did a video today where someone basically quoted the Bible, and I sort of said, go watch my video, and then they just quoted the Bible again, just said God is this and whatnot. And I said they must have no faith, really. Because if you've got 100% faith in something, you could go watch my videos that show that the Bible's talking about an alien race. You could go and watch that with 100% faith, knowing that you're right. But they don't. They don't. So I think there's no faith in religious people because they're frightened to watch it. James wrote outrohistory.co.uk once again. When is my normal live times? I just go whenever I can get the time because of my son. Sorry. So there's no website. Oh, yeah, that's why. Outrohistory.co.uk. Thank you very much again. I'm going to have to shoot now, guys. Thank you very much. Hope to see you again very, very soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.